he might be the face of that franchise. Robin Yount was a great Brewer.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Paul Molitor.
But when I think of the Brewers, I really do think of Bob Uecker before I think of anybody. He's probably the face of that franchise.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I can't think of anybody else that is a bigger name that's a Brewer than him.
He and this is no joke. I saw he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, right? Mostly for his broadcasting career.
Yeah.
His career highlight, and he doesn't joke about this. I think my career highlight was getting intentionally walked by Sandy Koufax. Situational baseball, had to walk him to load the bases up.
That's still a flex, right?
Yeah, Sandy Koufax. He didn't walk a lot of guys.
Bob Uecker, passing away today at age 90, one of those great baseball legends for many, many, many people there, especially for all you Brewer fans there. Actually played for the Milwaukee Braves, so part of the Braves organization. All right, before we get out of here, countdown to the national championship coming up on Monday night, Ohio State and Notre Dame. We talked earlier in the show about that with Jacob Hester. You can go back and get that podcasted. Frank Leahy, Ara Parsegian, Dan Devine, Lou Holtz, the last four coaches to win the national championship at Notre Dame, and they all did it in their third season, the same one Marcus Freeman is in. Pretty amazing.
Oh, interesting. Still don't give him a chance.
It would be amazing if he wins this national championship, because we've said what Jacob Hester said earlier on the show. Brian Kelly got him to this spot. So I don't know how different it's going to be. Like, they have one playoff game, so it does feel a little different. But if he wins this thing, it feels a lot different.
What was the point margin of that Notre Dame-Alabama game?
The final score?
Yeah.
Wasn't it 41-14?
35, something like that.
I think it was 41-14. I think was the final, maybe.
Yeah.
That's about right.
Is there a chance that's the type of score we have?
42-14, maybe.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes.
You think so? That's going to be so disappointing. We get one more college game, and that's what we're going to have to watch.
Now, look, I mean, that Al Golden defense is incredible. So, like, they force a couple of turnovers. They're able to effectively run the football. They don't get in a hole. You know, it could be a little different. You heard Esther. He thinks they're going to be within the number.
He thinks they'll cover, yeah. All right, that's the show. We're back with you tomorrow. Don't forget Bama and Bourbon's out there later tonight. Little T and I will record another The Basketball Show. It'll be ready for you for your drive to work tomorrow or to the arena on Saturday. Enjoy your night, and we'll see you at 9 a.m. Central Time live for the next show tomorrow. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At The Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out TheBarnAuburn.com and CoverCrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to Fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Take the Next Round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
News out this morning that college game day basketball, the first version of it, coming back to Auburn for the 5th straight year. We'll talk about where Auburn ranks with the Blue Bloods right now. I mean, getting game day 5 straight years. That's coming up a little bit later on the show. We'll get into what happened last night in college basketball here in this opening segment. A Johni Broome update. Get ready for the Tide trip to Kentucky. But I want to challenge. I want to challenge our Ramdom over here real quick.
Oh boy, here we go.
Bring off the bat, because you know I'm not patient with anything, and I stumbled across just a nugget coming in to the show this morning.
Can I guess?
And I bet you already know it.
Oh well, if he's guessing, he
But, I
knows
mean, if
the
you're
answer.
guessing it, you're going to already
Well,
before I even ask the question, you're gonna throw it at me. Go
Well,
ahead.
look, I mean, the Rams' path to victory this weekend, and I don't feel good about the Rams at all. I've told you guys for weeks and weeks and weeks, they just don't match up well with Philadelphia. But they have got to stop Saquon Barkley. They ran for over 300 yards against the Rams earlier in Week 12 in that 17-point win. In 12 playoff games, Sean McVay's teams have never given up a 100-yard rusher.
Was that the trivia question?
No, see,
in 12 playoff games.
See, here, this is where I have to feel complimented first that
Okay.
LT thought I came in with something that smart.
Okay, I'm just saying I consume way too much of this.
I mean, you realize that my entire IQ was built on the USA Today era of this much information about every topic in the world.
Which, by the way, that was my favorite way to consume sports.
Yeah, this boom. I know this much about everything. I don't know a lot about anything. It's a Sean McVay fact.
So this is Sean McVay trivia, not Rams trivia.
Which is right up your alley here.
Let's do
All
it.
right, well, ask the question.
Okay, here
you
we go.
say if you know the answer.
Okay.
If you do know the answer, then I get to try to guess it.
fair enough.
This is Sean McVay's 13th NFL playoff game
It
this
is?
weekend.
Uh-huh.
What is unique about that?
You know the answer.
What is unique about that? He is the youngest coach at this point to coach 13 postseason
Oh, that's
games.
very believable.
It is very believable.
But I don't know the answer, so you're
Yeah.
up.
None of them have occurred in my backyard.
That's correct.
I think I win.
Think about his playoff runs. How many teams has he beaten multiple times in the playoffs?
Oh, I don't know if he's beaten anybody multiple times. Well, no, he's beaten Seattle multiple times.
Has he? Because the stat
Yeah,
I have
maybe
here
not.
is McVay's 13th playoff game. He's never played anybody twice.
Okay,
That's
so
weird.
So let's
Yeah.
go back. 17, they were one and done. They lost to Atlanta. 18, they beat the Cowboys. They beat the Saints. They lost to the Patriots. 19 out of the postseason. 20, they beat the Seahawks. They lost to the Packers. 21, they beat the Cardinals. They beat the Buccaneers. They beat the 49ers. They beat the Bengals out of the playoffs. Last year in 23, they lost to Detroit. This year, they've obviously in playoff game number 1, they knock off. Oh my gosh, who'd they knock off last week? Oh, they destroyed Minnesota. Yeah. So yeah, they've never played.
They've never played the same
crazy.
That's
team
pretty crazy. 13
twice.
games. I mean, 13 games. Because most teams, or most of the time in the NFL, teams get good and they stay good for a little bit, so you end up playing each other in the postseason a lot.
By the way, there's only 16 teams in the NFC,
I know,
and they're
I just-
one of them. So there's only 15 teams you can play. So they basically played everybody.
Yeah.
That is pretty interesting.
Is that
You're
not
right.
a crazy stat?
So they've played.
They haven't played the Commanders.
They've only played 2 AFC teams, the Patriots and the Bengals, right? That's his 2 Super
In the
Bowls.
Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So they've played.
They count as playoff games.
so
have-
that, well, I know that, but I'm just saying that means he's played 11 of the 15 other NFC teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, the only ones they haven't played are the Giants, Commanders, Bears, Panthers.
That would be it.
That's it.
That's pretty crazy
Is that
to
not
think of.
crazy?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is a wild
Yeah.
stat.
I thought he would know it.
Yeah.
4 minutes in, I made my day. Good.
Yeah.
That's the shortest show ever. Let's all start the weekend right there. There you go, man. Little Sean McVay fact.
And
from
I
your
don't think
boy.
he. And I just want to tell you guys this one thing, and then we'll move on from Sean McVay at least
Okay.
for this point in the show.
Right, yes.
But I
We'll
do
definitely
think this
come- we'll
is-
definitely come back to
I
it.
do think this is pretty interesting because I looked at the 8 years. So Sean McVay's been with the Rams for 8 years. The 8 before, they had 41 wins in 8 years.
Yeah.
Their best season was 7-9, a second place in the West at 7-9. He's got 80 wins in his 8 years, only one losing season. He's won the West 4 times. He's been to 2 Super Bowls.
He's pretty good.
That guy can coach.
Guy can play coach. There's no doubt about
You
it.
think he'll be in Canton someday?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, if they make a run in this postseason, I think you can go on and solidify it.
Go ahead and start.
I mean, he's already had a better career than Eli Manning. Eli Manning's going to be there.
He is going to be there. All right. We get going here. We'll look at last night's basketball. Wow, that was historic. Get ready for the games coming up this weekend. Tom Luginbill with us at 9:30. Show being brought to you today, Brownie, in part by our wonderful friends at the World of Wills. If you grew up where we grew up here in Central Alabama, every year, this time of year, World of Wills would come to town. The Batmobile, Barney Fife in person, they're always there. At the World of Wills.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wills. O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wills. January 31 through February 2nd down at the BJCC. See custom classic cars, hot rods, trucks, motorcycles, and new this year. Check out the exotic car exhibit. Do not miss the BMX bike stunt team performing outrageous live stunts each day. Kids, you can meet your favorite costume characters and race Hot Wheels on the free Hot Wheels track. Don't miss the Super Show with one-of-a-kind vehicles from across the country. Get your discount tickets today at any O'Reilly Auto Parts store locally, or get all your details at worldofwills.net.
This is the portion of the show where Stephen Pearl, Auburn's assistant head coach, would say, Jim, what was it like the last time this happened? Because he loves to make fun of my age. But last night was the first time since 1949, with a minimum of 3 games, since 1949 that no ranked team won a basketball game last night.
Okay, I know Gonzaga and Michigan both lost.
Yep, and so did Memphis. All 3 of them were ranked. Minimum of 3 games. No ranked team won last night. We'll start with that Michigan team, up 9 at the half. They lose at Minnesota, who was 0-6 in the Big Ten before they won last night, and they knock off Michigan 84-81 on a Dawson Garcia logo shot to walk it off last night. I don't know how Lance Lock played last night. You had a lot of basketball games, but
I
3
did.
ranked teams lose. That seems like that plays into your rhythm.
Well, I only had one of the games that I had actually Memphis minus the 8. Yeah. I mean, all those were laying pretty big numbers. I didn't play the Gonzaga Oregon State. I didn't play Michigan Minnesota. I did have Memphis against Temple. Obviously, that didn't work out.
Yeah. So,
that's pretty crazy though.
Yeah. No. You look at your top 25 scoreboard last night. Loser with a number beside your name.
I don't think the numbers are going to hold this up. They don't hold it up for Vanderbilt, but I feel like Minnesota's gym is the Vanderbilt gym of the Big Ten. It's the lower floor. It's kind of weird sightlines. I feel like that might be one of those weird places to play, but that doesn't explain that because Michigan, as you said, was up 9 at the half. They just melted in the second half.
Yeah, 1-6 in the Big Ten now is Minnesota. Michigan, who is one of the better offensive teams. They got the 2 7-footers. They got 2 former Alabama players, 1 former Auburn player on that roster. They're fun to watch, but they fell apart in the second half. Memphis lost at Temple. Oregon State beat Gonzaga in a conference game. Remember, Oregon State's playing basketball in the Western Conference this year. So that's a conference loss for Gonzaga, which never happens, and that happened all last night in college basketball. We're getting ready for a major weekend coming up in the SEC. You're giggling about Gonzaga.
I'm just thinking, how many people wait a minute, we used to only have to beat St. Mary's in this conference.
Right.
Now we got to beat Oregon State, too?
Now we got to beat Oregon State.
I do have Mark Few coming up in our 4 downs.
Okay,
interesting.
It's not his birthday.
Always funny how that ties in together. Johni Broome not at practice yesterday for Auburn as they get ready to travel to Georgia tomorrow, 12 o'clock on the SEC Network. I will never say Broome's not playing. Not practicing, likely not playing this weekend. Next week, seems like next Saturday may be the first time we start targeting Johni Broome coming back. Is that a fair statement, a week from tomorrow?
I mean, I really don't know. Why do you say that?
I've heard a lot of positive things about his injury.
Okay.
And if you watch the new basketball show, the podcast that's out, the new episode this morning, Taylor talks about how much he was moving around, no crutches, on the sidelines.
Yeah, I think a couple of weeks for a high ankle sprain is about right.
Yeah, so with game day in town, with highly ranked Tennessee a week from Saturday from Auburn coming back. They're at Georgia tomorrow, 12 o'clock on the SEC Network. Give me cut 1, if you will, Tyler. Bruce Pearl talking yesterday to us about the ability they found the other night against Mississippi State to score the basketball without Johni Broome and the offense. Here's BP.
A lot depends on the way the defense plays. Mississippi State, played a certain way, and as a result, We didn't have as many assisted baskets as we did. Part of it, we didn't play through the post. When you're playing through the post and Johni gets doubled and he has 4 assists a game just inside out, we didn't necessarily have that. So you have to find other ways to score. And I don't know that the formula is going to be the same for Mississippi State as it will be against Georgia. We are down one of the most dynamic offensive players in college basketball. An old school center that can score with his back to the basket one-on-one. If you double him, he can pass it to anybody, and he does a great job of getting the foul line. He's unselfish. We don't have that. We have to find other ways to score.
Yeah. Now, Chaney Johnson filled that gap the other night, right?
Yeah, he was great.
I'll give you one nugget from the podcast. Go get a lot more of this from Taylor on our podcast this morning on all our video and audio platforms. But Chaney Johnson the other night. 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 blocks. Johni Broome's average on the season, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks. Almost an identical stat line to Johni Broome's averages is what Chaney Johnson put out there the other night. I mean, obviously you're going to miss Johni Broome, but if you get the same statistical output from Chaney Johnson, that helps you tremendously.
I don't know if you can get that. I don't know if you can replicate that night in, night out. There was a lot of adrenaline. We talked about the fact that, without Johni Broome game 1, there was going to be that electric atmosphere and they were going to come out and there would be that extra energy. So I don't know if you'll get that night in, night out, but even if you get close to that production.
Now, I say this in the same week that Ole Miss has won at Alabama and Missouri has won at Florida, which were 2 very surprising outcomes. But playing on the road in the SEC is going to be near impossible this year. And Auburn at South Carolina, a worse team than Georgia, was in a dogfight with them with Johni Broome.
Yeah, 27 minutes with Broome in
That's
the game.
right, yeah.
They were down when he went out. 47-45, Carolina's up with Johni Broome healthy.
Down at the half and down when he left the game. So this is going to be a tough game. Like people in the mybookie.ag chat room, I was going to look and give credit. R. Stews says... Well, let me ask Lance real quick. Where do you think the point spread will come on this one?
I think Auburn will be a road favorite, and I think they will come 4.5.
Oh, look, I said 4.
You did. R. Stews says Kim Pom has Auburn a 10-point favorite in this game. As an Auburn fan, that is way too high, and all the Auburn fans falling behind him saying, yeah, that is way too high.
Oh, dude, there is no way they're laying double digits without Broome on the road.
I wouldn't think so. And I guess Ken Pom would have. You would think it would account for the fact that Broome's not playing.
Oh yeah,
I would think. I don't know how they do their point spreads. I don't know if they just look at their metrics and say this is what the metrics say. Their metrics are they're built on Johni Broome playing.
I don't think that they would build in for Broome.
Yeah, so you think the more realistic.
And I do think Vegas looks at Ken Pom. I think that's probably that's part of it. But then they are going to factor in. Yeah. Well, this player's worth 3 or 4 points.
One more basketball note here in the opening segment. Alabama at Kentucky. It's the early game, 11 a.m. Main Jay Billis broadcast crew at 11 a.m. ESPN at Rupp Arena.
I think Kentucky 5.5. I haven't seen it. I would say 5.5.
Kentucky 5.5. Here's Mark Pope, Kentucky's coach yesterday.
So that's an expensive ticket tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, it is.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Might be the priciest ticket of all the games tomorrow.
My goodness. Just because Alabama's, they're still a top 5 team.
These Kentucky fans are super excited, and I think, Alabama is a brand now.
Yeah, and they'd still have that number 4 ranking beside their name as they come to town, even though that will drop after the loss earlier this week. Here's Mark Pope yesterday on what scares him about Alabama.
Certainly their usage of the 3-point line is really heavy. I think they're number 3 in the country, actually in 2-point field goal percentage, 2 or 3. They're really, really effective at the rim, and their volume from the 3-point line is intense. Right? They haven't shot it great, but their volume is always scary. Like on the night when they're making shots, it's a long night for their opponent for sure. But really, for me, it's their pace. And them on the offensive glass right now. It's just been remarkable. Their concerted effort on the glass has been really special.
Yeah.
Carson Beck's uncle?
That's really good.
Hey, most expensive ticket tomorrow night is actually in the hump. 5 o'clock tip, Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
How about that?
Yeah.
141 get in.
The egg bowl of basketball. I hate it when people do that with the Iron Bowl, so I'm not going to do it. It's not hard-boiled basketball?
Hard-boiled, hardwood, hard-boiled egg bowl. of basketball there tomorrow night. It's 5 o'clock. Ole Miss on the road at Mississippi State. Smaller arena, tougher ticket. Makes sense over there. That's a fun game. Two great offenses. Mark Pope knows about pace of play. Get everything on Keys to Victory right there at the Basketball Podcast on our YouTube channel and everywhere else.
I think Alabama is just 10-54 all-time at Rupp.
Yeah, not a lot.
Not a lot of wins there. That is a tough place to need to bounce back from, you say, the worst game of the Nate Oates era.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say that I don't know. Do you think there's a team that's won 40% of their games there? I would seriously doubt it.
I would very seriously. So you think Alabama's actually done better than most there? Yeah.
So what was the number again?
10-54, I think, is the number. I can confirm it, but I think that's the
so less than 20%. It's probably about right.
That's probably the average of teams that have played there over the years as many times as Alabama has. Tom Luginbill in the next segment. The biggest flex, still to come in this segment, the biggest flex by Bill Belichick since he's been the head coach at North Carolina. That coming up right after we tell you about a couple of our great sponsors. One of them, our friends at Michelson Laser Vision, always ready to help you. One of your best decisions you ever made, other than that great two-toned outfit that you have on today.
Oh, thank you, Dunaway.
Two-toned.
So back in 2003, I wore the contacts. I wore them for like a decade. I was wasting money each and every year. I finally went to see Dr. Mark Michelson when he was located up at the Summit Shopping Centers, now UAB Highlands, very convenient location there. Got the procedure done. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. Now 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have zero to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business, 205-969-8100. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
And our buddy Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing, he'll give you that free no-cost roof inspection. Free no-cost roof inspection, whether you're living out in Chelsea or Sylacauga, over in Hoover, up in Gardendale, wherever you're watching and listening to us, Greg will take care of you in Central Alabama. 205-542-3531, 542-3531. Storm Restoration Roofing, locally owned for over 20 years. That's his beautiful wife, Andrea, in the picture there with us. They run the company. Their son-in-laws on some crews out there. They'll get on that roof and give you a free no-cost roof inspection. They help you with roof replacement, storm damage, and the best part about it, Greg's been in this business so long, he'll help you with the insurance process as well. It can be confusing. He knows the insurance adjusters. It all works to your benefit. Check him out, Greg from Pell City on Facebook, or 205-542-3531. Bill Belichick. How old is Bill Belichick?
Bill Belichick is 73.
71.
73.
Yeah, he's...
you don't know the answer.
I feel really confident in 73 or 74. I am going to say 73.
72. We were right in the middle.
Okay.
But in April, he will be 73.
Yeah, so LT was right before his next kickoff. It'll be 73. I'll slide to LT on this one, Brownie. Jordan Hudson, you know that name, right?
Nope.
I do not, Jim.
Oh, that's his girlfriend.
Oh.
So when the headlines break that
I thought it was a hot recruit. I guess I'm right.
Does he officially have the biggest gap as far as
Age?
Yeah.
I will tell you this. You'll lose the picture in a second and tell you, but before Forster pops it up here, the big headline yesterday was Belichick hasn't signed his contract.
That was a nothing story.
How do you squash those rumors?
I think you can squash them or quash them.
Yeah. Either way, how you put those rumors to rest and flex at the same time, you let your 20-something girlfriend post a picture on Instagram with Bill Belichick.
It literally looks like her dad's about to walk her down the aisle, right?
Is that the father-daughter dance? No.
I was watching this show. I don't know if you've seen it, Dunaway. I bet Brown has not seen it, but maybe Dunaway's seen it because it's very sex-based. It's called Disclaimer on Apple with Kate Blanchett.
Oh, I haven't seen it
Sacha
yet.
Baron Cohen. Anyway, the younger version of Kate Blanchett is played by this Australian actress. I didn't know who she was, but you tend to Google these things. And she was married to Sean Penn for like 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And their gap is about like this.
Okay, so Jordan Isabella on her social media platforms yesterday pictured two people who are overly committed to UNC football with a Carolina blue heart there.
They've had to do some damage control on this. I know Michael Lombardi, who's been on this show before, is now his director of football ops, was doing the rounds yesterday saying this story of him not signing his contract has no basis whatsoever, which As we discussed on this show, this happens all the time in college football. These guys agree to the framework of a contract. They have a memorandum of understanding while the I's get dotted and the T's get crossed with their agents, and they get to work. They don't sit around and say, no, I got to have this contract signed before I get to work. You can't afford to do that.
I'm in the minority here, but I believe there would be a better I think he's staying. I think he is all in. But if one of the two guys, either Deion was going to leave Boulder or Belichick was going to leave Chapel Hill before he signs contract, I think it would be Belichick. I don't think there's as much commitment on Belichick's side as there is with Deion's side.
Yeah, Deion started getting a lot of people transferring to Colorado and make a commitment and all of that stuff now, especially 2 years in for him. He's got some roots down, his kickstands down. Belichick hasn't really made relationships with the players yet.
No.
It's easier to walk away. He hasn't named the dog yet.
But look, if I'm Carson Beck's old man, I point to that picture and I'm like, look, that chick is relocating to Chapel Hill. You're chasing tail to Coral Gables when she could come up to Athens or Tuscaloosa or a place you could win a championship. See how Belichick does it.
Yeah. Great point. Great point right there. One more college football note about primetime Deion Sanders and the Cowboys search. After we tell you about our friends at the Golfist, weather pretty good today to get out and play golf, but when it turns bad again, tomorrow and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, the Golfist is the place to go.
You mean Saturday being a high of 61, Sunday being a high of 31? That's a problem with golf? Yeah, I was out yesterday. But let me tell you, it's the only time in January I have been out on the golf course, and that's why we've got the Golfist. It is Birmingham's best indoor golf simulators right there on Highway 31 in Vestavia, Van Road just off Highway 11 in Trussville, and coming soon to Highway 280. You can book a bay. You can get all those locations and all of that at thegolfist.com. Thegolfist.com. Get out of the office and get into the Golfist. It is always 70 degrees. There's never any rain. You never get delayed by wind or weather. And you can play hundreds of courses from around the world. Courses and you've never been able to get on probably. You can play them at the Golfist. Book a bay right now. Great place for parties. Bring your own clubs. Bring your own food. Bring your own drink to the Golfist. Thegolfist.com. Thegolfist.com.
I'm going to say this is the first time Deion Sanders has heard this word since he got to Boulder, Colorado. No.
Oh, did he hear no?
According to reports, with the buzz out there that Deion is in the mix for the Cowboys job, he has gone to his athletic director asking for more money for his coaching staff and more money for the NIL. And Rick George, the athletic director, has said no. No more money for the coaching staff and no more money. There's no more money for the NIL yet.
I would say if you're Rick George, bad time to do this. Because now I go back to saying that Deion's 100% committed, but you don't want to say no when he's got the opportunity to maybe take the Dallas job, do you?
Oh, I think if I'm in Rick, I'm going to play it the other way. If I'm in Rick George's shoes, if we squeezed all we can squeeze out for you already,
you want to let him know beforehand,
and you know, dude, he's going to take the Cowboys job if he gets it. So me falling for this right now.
Wait, so you think if Jerry offers him that job, he's taking it?
100%.
Are you being sarcastic?
I'm not being sarcastic.
You don't think he would take the Cowboys job?
I think it's going to be difficult because, he talks about, he's a man of honor. He's a man of his word.
They have honor and word in Dallas?
He said the same thing at Jackson State and took the Colorado job.
I had the most random FaceTime call. I was in
From Deion Sanders?
No, from Quincy Carter. And I mentioned him on the show yesterday.
Wait a minute. Time out.
I know. You mentioned Quincy Carter yesterday.
Yeah, I don't even remember you mentioning Quincy Carter.
I mentioned Quincy Carter because I was talking about Drew Henson and Josh Booty playing.
Yeah.
We were talking about the guy that was on, maybe it was 2 days ago, the Reds opening day roster.
That's right.
He's going to be playing baseball.
Yeah.
I brought up guys that had played baseball
you did,
and come
Quincy
back.
Carter, yep.
And we're talking about the Bubba kid that's down at South Alabama.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
I'm in a meeting at a Starbucks yesterday afternoon, and dude I'm with gets a FaceTime from Quincy Carter. And so then he puts me on, and I was like, dude, I mentioned you on the show yesterday.
Boy, that is super odd.
But anyway, we talked for a second about, because he knows Deion really well. He played with Deion, and he knows Jerry really well. And he's like, I think it would have already happened if it was going to happen. He was like, but it's still in play. But my point is, he is known to be a guy that, when he gives his word, a guy like Juju Smith coming in, like that guy transferred out, he could have gone anywhere.
Well, I know that, but he had given his word to those guys at Jackson State, and he took the Colorado job, which I don't blame him for doing.
But he was able to take those guys with him.
Some of them,
yeah. Colorado, they will go from, what was the win total? Like
9?
6.5?
Oh, the
Vegas win total?
Yeah, 7.5.
7.5. That will go to like 2.5. Like that complete program will evaporate.
Oh yeah, the question
It will. I don't think he wants that.
because there's a 30-day window that anybody on the roster could leave if Deion left.
That's right.
So I really seriously asked the question: would they be able to field a team?
Yeah, I don't, and I think it's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
Like I do think guys from Sam Houston State and maybe James Madison, some of those might transfer in to play in the Big 12. But I don't know. I don't know how you would hold this thing together. It would be a complete mess. I don't think he would take it. But I'm in the minority here.
I mean, that's going to happen someday. One day that'll happen. That we'll have a late coaching hire built around the portal that will have such a mass exodus. They'll be able to field a team, but it'll end up being one of the worst teams in power conference.
It'll be a JV team.
Oh, I think you're going to have, and this is a whole nother tangent. I think you're going to have a situation one day where. Like a lot of these guys are opting out because they're not getting their NIL. I think you'll see like a huge contingent of a team leave one day, like game week, and they won't be able to play a game.
We'll have a forfeit?
Be like COVID?
Yeah.
Can't play, sorry.
That'll be a sad day in college football. All right, Luginbill on the other side. One more thing here in this opening segment. We're a close-knit group up here, small company, small family, absolutely. And then there's some folks who help us out who are sort of an extended part of our family. And Forrester, can I get Forrester's microphone? We have an addition to the Next Round family. Walk me through the process here. I mean, I know how babies are made, but, the rest of the process here.
Spoiler alert there.
Oh, it's about a baby.
It is about a baby. So one of the cool things about being up here early is, every once in a while we'll get a delivery from our friends right there at Coke. And our boy Ash is the one who makes those deliveries.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pretty big day yesterday for Ash.
Got a delivery of his own.
they had a delivery of their own.
He restocked his own cooler.
Bo Chandler Ryan.
How about that?
Born yesterday.
That way, Ash.
Way to go, Ash.
Hey, good job with the Coke
Congrats
logo.
to Ash and Savannah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's very nice,
6
man.
pounds, 12 ounces. Yesterday, Bo Chandler Ryan, Ash and Savannah, everybody doing great. What a beautiful baby right there.
Fancy way to spell Bo.
Fancy way to spell Bo right there. That's a good
Fancy
name.
kid. I like it.
Yeah. There we go.
That way, Ash.
I mean, my parents put Coke in my bottle really early. How quick does Coke make it into the bottle for Ash?
Yeah, you got to get them
Probably
both.
some Coke Zero.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So congratulations to Ash and the Coca-Cola family there with another edition. When we come back, we talk to Tom Luginbill. He joins us on the other side. This is TNR.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President. Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there. Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Gameday collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
I don't know why Tom Luginbill's on the show today. Hopefully it's to talk about the national championship game.
Doesn't that make sense?
Well, before we're done with Tom Luginbill, I think I saw him tweeting something about Alabama, Georgia recruits earlier this week and how he at ESPN 300 and all those guys have been following it for a while. So before we're done at the end, remind me to ask Luginbill before we get into entertainment or anything else about what they were talking about.
One thing that I did, I pulled Tyler and I sent him 15 different old advertisements in magazines that are super offensive, like you couldn't get away with it now. And I thought about Tom Luginbill when I put these things together.
Wow. Why? Because he's super offensive?
No, I think he would just laugh his ass off at every one of them.
Well, we'll send him the link.
So we're gonna do that in a separate segment. We will not include it. Luginbill will have to come back and watch that later on.
We'll send it to him.
We'll get another view.
Apparently, in a room without
I'm gonna text him one. I'll text him one in this interview just where he can see it.
ESPN's Tom Luginbill is with us now. What is up, Luke? How are you?
Hey, guys. How we doing, man?
Doing awesome, man. Doing awesome. Look, I mean, the way this Notre Dame-Ohio State game gets painted is you don't even need to watch it. Ohio State's got this thing in the bag before they even blow the whistle. As you look at it, do you see a place Notre Dame can take advantage of Ohio State?
Well, of course I do. I mean, listen, I'm a believer that destiny and stars aligning and all of those sorts of things can be very, very real for teams. And you kind of get that feeling about Notre Dame. You know, they're just not going away. Now, does Ohio State have a better roster? Probably, yeah. Do they have the ability to make more explosive plays offensively? Yes. But there's something about this Notre Dame team on defense, with their special teams, and their ability to rise to the occasion at the most important moments of a game. And that's very, very real to me. And I think that you got to be very careful when you're playing a team like that, where everything kind of started to fall into place. Now, I'll say this. I think this is the entire X factor of this entirety of this whole game is Notre Dame is a man defense football team. So much so that they play more man defense, either cover 0, all right, or cover 1 with a single high safety, almost 60% of the time. That's more than any other team in college football. But No other team in college football that's played Ohio State has the guts to do that, right? Because you don't want to have mismatched disadvantages with their personnel and give the quarterback easy reads and all those sorts of things. But I don't think Notre Dame is going to deviate from that. I think Notre Dame's mentality is pressure burst the pipe. We're going to affect the quarterback, try and get after him, and limit explosive plays. Versus man coverage, Notre Dame has only allowed 5 touchdowns in man coverage the entire season. So I look at it from the Ohio State perspective. You know who has the highest QBR in all of college football versus man coverage?
Better not be Will Howard.
It's Will Howard. and he's thrown 9 touchdowns and turned the ball over 0 times versus man coverage this year. And it's interesting because this is a complete deviation from what Texas did a week ago. Texas, their whole mindset was, we're not going to give you the easy pre-snap and post-snap read, and we're not going to give you Jeremiah Smith just running down the field. So they're going to rely on the front, and then they're going to change the picture of the back end, and they were almost entirely in some form of zone. And their thought was, we're going to make or see if Will Howard could be methodical and work through his progressions and get the ball to somebody else. Well, Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate, and G. Scott accounted for 17 catches versus Texas. All right, so that was a completely different operation, and Will Smith proved, even though he was under duress a little bit and it wasn't perfect, that he could have the patience to work through progressions and not lock on to Jeremiah Smith. So to me, guys, something's got to give, because maybe Notre Dame's good enough to match up with Ohio State and not allow explosive plays and not allow the ball to just turn into a track meet offensively. We're going to find out, because I don't see them deviating from who they are.
I'm going to preface this by saying I don't think Riley Leonard, Lugs, is a quarterback that's going to lead you. He doesn't want to play from behind. I think that's fair. But the question came up on this panel a couple of days ago. If he wins a national championship, is he the worst playoff quarterback to ever win one? And I laughed like you did. They tried to make this argument for a little bit. I think Riley Leonard's a pretty good quarterback.
We never argued he was absolutely the worst. We just put him in the discussion among the worst.
Well, they tried to tell me that McElroy and Jake Coker were better quarterbacks than Riley Leonard.
McElroy ended up being a better quarterback.
Yeah. And I told him no chance.
And Coker was a better quarterback.
Jake Coker was not a better quarterback than Riley Leonard. Help me out here, Luke.
Yes, he was.
If you guys say Jacob Coker is better than Greg McElroy, that is going to make my day. Greg is one of my closest friends in this profession. And I will laugh my ass off.
They just said it.
Well, Coker, I would say Coker had a better season than Greg ever had. But Coker only played the one season.
Completely different style of play.
Yeah. And I say I defend McElroy all the time, because if you go to that SEC championship game in 2009, he didn't have to do a lot all the time, but in 2009, in that fourth quarter, he had to have a hell of a fourth quarter,
and I think
he did.
Both of them were really good, Luginbill. I mean, obviously, McElroy played in the NFL. Coker won a national championship. My point is, Riley Leonard, from what he did at Duke to what he's doing this year, he doesn't get a lot of credit because Al Golden's defense is exceptional. But I think Riley Leonard, for what he does with his legs, his intangibles, he is a really good college quarterback.
Yeah, great running back.
I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. I actually got to broadcast 2 of his games in person. One of them was the upset of Clemson on Labor Day night 2 years ago. And I think sometimes he gets the nod or gets this. There's a negative perception of him, not because of what he can't do, but because he's not asked to do it. There's an assumption he can't. And I would make the argument that a week ago, when they forced them to have to throw the football to move the football, he came up with a ton of explosive plays in the passing game. And he made a critical throw on 3rd and 3 to put them in a position to win that football game. I just think he's undervalued. I'll say this. I think the same game plan is going to apply against Notre Dame this week that applied a week ago, and that is, if Notre Dame can't run the football, we're going to make Riley Leonard beat us through the air. He did it a week ago. Could he do it against this Ohio State team? Because Ohio State defensively is the number 1 pressure football team in America without having to bring a 5th or 6th rusher. They control the line of scrimmage with 4 men. And so if you look at Notre Dame's run game, you take away the 98-yard run against Indiana, Notre Dame has not been able to run the football effectively at all. They're averaging like 3.3 yards a carry. Well, that's roughly what Ohio State allows defensively versus the run. So I do think there's going to be a tremendous amount, not pressure, but there's going to be the onus of the offense is going to fall on his shoulders, but it might fall on his shoulders in the passing game. And Lance, to what you said, they're a team that's been so accustomed to being in 2nd and 3, 3rd and 2. They don't want to be in 3rd and 7+. They don't want to be in 2nd and 10. That's not their game plan.
Season 3 of Monday Morning Live coming soon. That's Tom Luginbill. We kick off your football Mondays every day live right here, and Luginbill's with us now with his middle relief out of the bullpen facial hair growing. I love the thicker mustache you have today, by the way.
Oh, my wife is so mad at me. So she met me for lunch yesterday, and I was just goofing around with my trimmer. She looks at me, and she's like, "What did you do?" So now I'm thinking, what did I do? Like, did I do something? I didn't realize it, and I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, your face. What did you do? And I'm like, don't worry about it. I got college football live tomorrow. I'll trim it up. I'll be good. It's just a one-day.
Luke, look at the text I sent you and tell me if your wife would appreciate the advertisement of the one I just sent you. Yeah.
So I'm looking at it right now because I'm actually on my phone talking to you. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was that was a legitimate ad.
Those were real ads.
That was real?
Yeah, that was like in Time magazine back in the late 70s.
Yeah.
It's a different world, man.
We're all going to pretend that exchange did not happen.
10:15 Central Time, so about 30 minutes
this
from now.
was the Mad Men. You saw Mad Men. Great show. But this is Draper and everybody sitting around saying, man, this will fly. This will sell.
Yeah. Okay, so 30 minutes. We'll get into those. Luginbill, set your alerts and come back. So I wanted to ask you, what happened? I mean, Notre Dame's got offensive line injuries, but it was the offensive line injuries of Ohio State, which was supposed to derail this championship season. Seth at center, the tackle, they moved him around, but I haven't seen any fall off. All of a sudden, that offensive line is held up.
Okay, so a couple of things that have changed, particularly since the Michigan game. Chip Kelly and Ryan Day, I think, did a really good job of moving away from their inside and outside zone game and becoming more of a gap run scheme so that they're setting up angle blocks, they're blocking down, pulling. They're not just asking guys to mano-a-mano block guys up. And if you look at them versus Michigan, that's what they asked them to do, and they got their tail kicked up front. So that's number one. Number two, they have chosen to move the launch point and change where Will Howard is far more often on a regular basis, whether that's bootlegs or nakeds, whether that's direct rollouts, to try to help him protect himself better. And then I think on top of it, they have really, really pushed the ball downfield as good as anybody in college football, but they've done it quickly. And this is where that man coverage discussion comes in. So in the college football playoff, just the playoff, on completions of 20 yards or more for Ohio State, 20 yards or more completions during the regular season, Ohio State completed 52% of those passes, which is actually a big number. That's a good number because that's a low percentage throw. In the playoff, 88%. I mean, that doesn't happen. That's a statistical anomaly. And so I think that they've done a really good job of working around the offensive line by just subtly tweaking some things and then taking more shots quickly downfield, and their guys have made plays.
Do you want to ask your question? I want to get some entertainment picks from Luginbill.
Yeah, just real quickly, there was a lot of discussion about recruits, Alabama and Georgia recruits, and I think you were talking about it on your social media. Maybe you reposted something earlier this week. The high school football in our state has risen up to where, not per capita, just straight numbers.
Yeah,
like we're in Alabama, we're fifth behind the big boys, right? California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, right?
Yeah, and the piece you're referencing, because everybody always talks about the big three, right? California, Texas, and Florida. And I can tell you the big three is not California, Texas, and Florida. It's Texas, Florida, and Georgia. The most underrated state over the last 20 years of not just personnel and players, but players that have panned out, right, is the state of Alabama.
Wow.
In fact, it's hard to find a close second. And I'm going back to the 06 class. All right, so we're going way back there. But and some people may say, well, that's crazy. Why is Georgia? Why would you say Georgia is stronger than California? Well, California is made up of 38 million people. All right, but if you look at the backgrounds of the people living in the state, okay, close to 60% of the people living in that state don't play football. They play other sports. If you look at the state of Georgia, everybody plays football. Everybody. And the investment in high school football in that state far outweighs the investment that we've had in California over the last 20 years.
Yeah, and I would say, just off of the backside of that, Hugh Freeze has done Kalen DeBoer is new, but Hugh Freeze has done a really good job of setting up camp in Alabama high schools recruiting. Nick Saban was really good in Georgia and Louisiana and all over the country. And Hugh came in at the end of the Saban era and said, I'd like to win the state of Alabama. And they've done a really good job recruiting in Alabama.
It's critical, and it's not easy because you're battling Alabama all the time for the state's best. So it's an uphill battle. But while Alabama is, casting their line in other bordering states to complement their roster, you might be able to catch them with their eye off the ball a little bit if you're spending all of your time in state. And that's not to say that Auburn's not going to have a heavy presence in Georgia. They always have. Florida as well. Just the competition is now ramped up, right? I mean, it's not just Alabama and Auburn in the state of Alabama anymore for players. It's Clemson, it's Florida State, it's Miami, it's LSU, it's Tennessee. You're warding off a lot of suitors.
Ohio State came to Birmingham, got a big DB. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. Yep.
All right, ESPN's Tom Luginbill. Do you have any tips for us on viewing now that you've?
American Prime Evil on Netflix is fantastic.
I finished it last night. I will say this, Luginbill. I said it's one of the most violent series I've ever seen. I thought the first 3 or 4 episodes really good. The last 2 kind of tailed off. Boy, the Mormons were ruthless. Everybody was ruthless.
I'll tell you what, if you're a BYU fan, you ain't going to like that show.
Yeah.
Hey, how did Brigham Young not get canceled? I know it's a religion, but my gosh.
It's a long time ago, too.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I thought it was a great tale. I kind of felt like it was like 1883 with violence.
I mean, so The Revenant, the same guy behind it, Mark L. Smith, and then Peter Berg was the guy that directed all 6 episodes. Yeah. But the scenes, you could tell it had a lot of the fingerprints of The Revenant on it. But, dude, I didn't realize arrows went that fast. Did you?
I know, right? Or it could go through skulls like it was no big deal. Trying to think too.
So let me ask you this: I'm sure you've seen Landman, right?
Oh, it's fantastic!
How bad are the women in Taylor Sheridan's life for the writing, the way he writes women into his series? If that makes any sense. Like, there is no way a 17-year-old daughter would talk to her dad like that girl does. There's no way a wife would talk to her husband the way she does.
I know. I'm just trying to get my 17-year-old daughter to talk to me. That's
enough.
My focal point. That's my focal point right now. I thought Landman was really, really good. And then, you know what? I actually went to the movies because have you seen Den of Thieves?
No, I never saw the first one.
Tyler?
So the first one, it's really good. You'll love it. You have to watch it. It's fantastic. It's a heist movie. It's really good. And so I went and saw Den of Thieves too. That was actually really good. Had a little bit more of a twist. So I recommend that one too.
I really liked the first one. I felt like it was more gritty.
Okay.
The second one goes for like a European diamond heist kind of feel. So
I agree.
If that's your taste, then you'll like the second one as well.
I love a good European diamond heist.
Well
That's right.
said.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Tyler's a smart guy.
Hey, watch this. Look about how many movies did you go to last year in the theater, Tyler?
So just for movies released in 2024, it was around 135, but then I went to a lot of like re-releases as well.
So what was the total number?
Damn.
135 new releases?
I don't know, 160 something.
160 times in the theater.
Re-releases, and then there were some films that I went to see.
Did you see the
like,
Jaws re-release?
I didn't get to see the
Damn,
Jaws re-release.
when was that? I didn't know. They wasn't around here.
It was the third week in August, and I went, and it was awesome.
Okay, you and I this summer are going to do the 50th anniversary podcast for Jaws. I've already got it lined up.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Best movie ever made.
You know, for Abraham Lincoln, it was a one-off finding him in the Ford Theater that night. If you want to assassinate Tyler, all you got to do is, I mean, he's going to be there every other day.
It'll also be in a theater.
He must have some discretionary income. I mean, holy smokes, it ain't cheap going to the movies these days.
There's an AMC membership now where you can see
I
3
have it with
movies a
Regal.
week.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Unlimited movies for $23 a month.
Oh, it's so nice. I would not
It
be
is
able
nice.
to cover all the movies I do otherwise.
They're losing money on Tyler for sure.
Yeah.
Luginbill, thank you. Enjoy the championship game. Always good to see your face and have a conversation.
Absolutely, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the game Monday night.
All right, buddy. You too. Take care. Tom Luginbill with us at Tom Luginbill on social media, ESPN. He was on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
And the show brought to you today by our buddy Dr. B. Tell us about Dr. B.
Dr. B, I'm actually going to meet up with Dr. Beckenstein later today. Just a great guy. If you're starting to thin out, be preemptive. If you want to maintain that hair, you want to grow some back, Dr. B is the man. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use his experience, his advanced training, and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B and that great staff today, 205-319-0316, 205-319-0316. Tell them the next round sent you. I do the non-invasive treatment, did it again last night, 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. That is it. My hair has more than doubled in thickness. To get all of the information, you can go online right now. Go to t3hair.net.
I think it's sort of stupid to waste time on this today. I will just mention that yesterday the Department of Education ruled that the revenue the rev share in college athletics would need to be equally distributed between men and women.
That is so
by
stupid.
Title IX. The reason I will not spend any time on it on the show is because something big happens on Monday. And anything that the Department of Education said yesterday likely will not be in play on Tuesday of next week after the inauguration of a new administration there. So,
by the way, life's not fair, right?
Yeah, I would imagine that what's going to happen is the Trump administration will look at the rev share and all of this, and will have a heavy hand in the future of how college athletics would look. So I do not think anybody is reacting in college athletics today after that Department of Education ruling yesterday. And by the way, just one thought on it. If you are going to go equally distributed rev share, then I would go by percentages of the revenue that your sport creates.
Correct.
For instance,
no doubt.
Football players are able to get 50% of what football creates, basketball 50%, then women's softball would get 50% of what women's softball
Well, that's what we
brings
call
in.
equitable. That makes sense.
That would be equal.
Well, yeah, and Ted Cruz has already released a statement to Yahoo Sports saying if your goal is to kill as many college sports as possible, this is what you would do,
right.
which is why it's going to get overturned.
It has to. It's a system that will not work.
Yeah.
Because when people like Greg Byrne and other athletic directors say, okay, in this rev share model, we're going to give this much to football, this much
Right.
to men's basketball, and then this much to other sports. It's that this much to other sports that is going to keep them alive. And if you force their hand on this, then this much to other sports doesn't exist anymore, and those sports will go out of business.
You know, I'm a father of 2 daughters, one of whom is involved in several. I mean, my youngest, she's a black belt in Taekwondo. She plays soccer. I mean, she's involved in some athletic endeavors. And if she ever played on a collegiate level, I would want the football team at that college to get every resource possible.
That's right.
Because the more money they make, the better it's going to be for my daughter playing
That's right.
a sport there.
They're gonna keep that sport afloat.
That is
first of all.
correct.
They're
yes.
gonna keep the scholarships.
Yeah, let's
afloat.
be realistic.
Yeah. So.
And I'm a guy that, for a very brief time in college, participated in a non-revenue generating sport in golf. And trust me, the better Jacksonville State football was, the better our golf bags were going to be, and more golf balls we had access to.
Exactly.
It's not hard.
All right. So that's really a non-starter there. One thing that is a starter is the movement yesterday on the coaching waiver wire. A big keep for USC. D'Anton Lynn signed an extension for the Trojans. That guy's really good at what he does. I'm surprised they were able to keep him.
Yeah, well, so this is good news for USC fans, because if there was any turmoil, Lynn's smart enough to know. Look, he grew up, his dad, former Chargers head coach, This is a guy in Anthony Lynn. This is a guy that would know if it was time to bolt. So he does see that the future could possibly be bright at USC. And I said this, and you guys heard me say it multiple times this year. I thought this was a better team. Now, the record obviously didn't show it, but they didn't have a generational quarterback. They didn't even have close to that. You know, if they would have had, a B-plus quarterback, I think that this is a team that would have won 9 or 10 games. So I do think the defense got a lot better. I thought the team was overall better, but this is a huge get for Lincoln Riley and USC.
Considered to be one of the best defensive minds in college football right now, and USC's able to keep him. Before we hear about the lock and the plays tonight from our friends at Hemphill, one moment to make you feel old. I love to do these when these names pop up. It's only an Elite 11 regional honor at quarterback, but that means he's in the running to be an Elite 11 quarterback by the time we get to the summer. But Memphis Garcia is an Elite 11
oh my gosh,
regional quarterback on the high school level, and on his way possibly to being an Elite 11 quarterback at the camp this summer. Memphis Garcia, Steven Garcia's son.
Wait a minute. He played against Alabama in 2010.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible. If he would have had a kid in 10.
He's 14 years old.
Yeah, there's impossible.
So this was.
It doesn't work.
This was.
On 3 Sports
doesn't
this
work.
morning. Memphis.
No, I mean, it works.
MEMPHYS, Memphis Garcia, Elite 11 regional quarterback.
Okay. Steven got started early. Is all that means.
Okay. So let's say in 10 he was 22. Let's say he had a kid in 8.
If the kid's 14, he's in high school. He doesn't have to be a senior.
So he's 14.
Okay, my bad. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying.
18.
I thought you meant like he was about to sign with somebody. Okay,
No,
that's on me.
no.
That's on me.
Okay.
It's on me.
Yeah, me too.
He's a high school quarterback.
Yeah. Okay. I'd say he still started young.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. He's a high school quarterback. It's
still an incredible story where they came for curfew check up to his room when they were playing in Atlanta. I forgot it was a bowl game. And they found Steven with a couple of, friends.
Yeah.
And then they had his ass running on a treadmill to sweat all the alcohol out. He came on the show and he admitted it. Remember?
Oh, yeah, he did. Well, I mean, I felt old enough when I saw that Matt Leinart's kid's apparently a hot California prospect. When you started telling me Steven Garcia's kid, my gosh, he's been on our show before.
Yeah, that's only separated by 5 or 6 years there, bro.
I know. Leinart played at USC in 05. Yeah.
Memphis Garcia is the recruitment process is underway there. All right, tonight's best basketball game on a Friday night. Never a great slate on a Friday night, but Boise State, New Mexico, 10 o'clock FS1 is a big battle between maybe the 2 best teams in the Mountain West. Lance'sLock.com. Make your plays. Hemphill brings you the lock every day.
Yeah, and there's always Big Ten action. Indiana, Ohio State tonight. We've got right now 5 plays up. 3 NBA, 2 college, coming off a slightly losing night last night. But we've had a great week. Jump on board and win with us. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services. Whether you experience any plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. I had to move the guys coming out yesterday to today, so Hemphill will be at the house later today. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
And our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, 16 locations around the great state of Alabama. They'll treat all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones, vasectomies. Guys, these are the folks you want to stay on top of your health. Visit urologycentersalabama.com to get details. Call that number, 205-930-0920, to make an appointment. 930-0920, urologycentersalabama.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the BJCC. With customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall. Sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only, meet All Elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday, it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday, meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan-Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out TheBarnAuburn.com and CoverCrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Quarterback play will be part of the spotlight. We'll get to that in just a second. Also, later this segment, about 10:15, we'll come to a screeching halt on our football conversation. And LT and Tyler put together a what's it called, where you have a...
What sparked the conversation yesterday? You were like, hey, why don't you pull some of these?
Bent cigarette ad
yeah.
from Sports Illustrated in the 70s. It's a PowerPoint. They put together a PowerPoint of ads from yesteryear in America that really were real ads. These are all real ads.
Yeah, because you brought this up. We used to do this on radio without any visual element.
Right.
So now you'll be able to see the ad. We'll be able to talk about it. It's just incredible if you think about these ads got passed when they did now in 2025.
Yeah,
it would never happen.
And some of these are in my lifetime, as Stephen Pearl likes to point out. Some of these will actually be from my lifetime. So we will get to that. But let's start off this hour with our spotlight. Tyler, hit the button.
The College Football Spotlight.
Presented each day by McCurry Van and Car Rental. They got all the difficult vans, cars, trucks, SUVs, passenger vans that are hard to find. They got them right there at McCurry Van and Car Rental. You can find them throughout North Alabama, Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, Skyland Boulevard at Tuscaloosa. Reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003, McCurryRentals.com.
Blind resume quarterbacks here real quick.
Okay.
5 games, last 5 games of their seasons. One guy was 87 of 120 for 1,159 yards, 10 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
All right.
One guy is 80 of 124, 817 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions.
Interceptions a little too high. Otherwise, pretty close.
Does this include the playoffs?
This does cover playoffs and up to, and for one guy, includes a national championship game. Blind resume, one of those is Jake Coker. The other one is Riley Leonard.
Yeah, the 4 interceptions is too high. Otherwise, it's actually really close.
I had Reed work on the numbers there. Last 5 games for Coker, which was amazing. It was Charleston Southern, but Auburn, Florida, Michigan State, and Clemson.
Are we doing 5 games? We're going to do a whole season. Are we going to do a whole college career?
It was the last 5 games.
That was the basis was who was the better college quarterback. And Riley Leonard, not even close. I think Jake Coker would tell you that.
Yeah, 10. I don't think he would.
Let's get Coker on the phone. I think he would.
You think both of them are down in that Fairhope area?
That's right.
I think Coker would tell you.
It's Bay Area crime.
I mean, the ultimate look. Riley Leonard's not getting a ring. Coker's got the ring, so that's the ultimate flex.
Look, best Bay Area quarterback has long since been. They've actually put out some good ones.
No, Pat White,
AJ McCarron, by the way.
No, I mean it's Kenny Stabler, but
2-time national champion AJ McCarron.
Yeah, Kenny Stabler has won a Super Bowl. It's going to be hard to overlook that
modern day football. But go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry, Jim. You remember watching Kenny Stabler play, don't you?
I do. Thanks, Steven.
He's just all about Alabama rings. That's why Coker is bounced over Riley Leonard.
Jamarcus Russell came out of there. I mean, excellent college career.
He was incredible. There's a reason he went number 1 overall.
Yeah, I mean, Bay Area quarterbacks have torn it up.
Don't forget T. Martin.
Oh, that's right. T. Martin out of Mobile won a national championship. Yeah.
Something Peyton couldn't do.
Phillip Rivers' kid down there apparently is really, really good.
Pat White?
One of them's...
Yeah, Pat White's from Daphne.
Yeah, I just mentioned Pat.
Yeah.
Hey, one of his kids has got to be good, right? He's got 15 of them.
It was the law of averages, right? Yeah. No, but seriously, one of Phillip Rivers' kids, I think, is going to be, I'll look it up, I think he's going to be a highly recruited player, and he's going to be another Bay Area quarterback, assuming Phillip stays down there long enough.
But imagine, for Coker now, with Derrick Henry back there.
Different story.
To have 10 touchdown passes and no interceptions. Now, you can also say with Derrick Henry back there, that opens up play action a lot. You can be throwing some wide open receivers. And
I want you guys to hear what I'm saying, though. I thought Coker was tremendous. We were doing a show when he went on that great run.
I'm not taking any. Riley Leonard's a good college quarterback.
Okay, but the way this whole conversation started was, is Riley Leonard going to be, if they close the deal, the worst playoff era quarterback to win a national championship? I just thought that was somewhat laughable.
Our show is brought to you there, the spotlight, by our friends at McCurry. One more time, Brownie.
McCurryRentals.com. That is McCurryRentals.com. Gunnar Rivers is his name. And oddly, I just pulled up a story, and I think it's from today that he just received his first SEC offer, if I read the story correct.
No. So Hugh sent that out today, Hugh Freeze?
It's from SI.com. I don't even know who the school is. The headline just says gets his first SEC offer, and now I'm having to dig through the story. He's got offers already from Miami, North Carolina State, Boston College, and now Auburn and South Carolina have confirmed their interest in the lefty quarterback. And I've seen it. He's got the same exact motion as his dad, which was a very non-conventional motion. I think it said left-handed right here. Did I read that right?
You said lefty.
Second generation.
It's going to shock me if he's left-handed.
Well, maybe I was wrong about that. Maybe I was skimming through the article. I thought it said left-handed, but maybe not. But his throwing motion looks like his dad. I've actually seen the kid on video.
DanielMooreArt.com. I'm sure there's a Jake Coker print there somewhere. DanielMooreArt.com. Go check it out. The great paintings of Daniel A. Moore, the legend, a tribute to Coach Nick Saban, the latest one, his 6 national championship seasons there. You can go and pick that up and check out all the offerings from Daniel A. Moore, sort of a walk through history right there. Promo code TNR for the calendars each year that are just some of the classic works from Daniel A. Moore. Maybe you want to go vintage and go find the kick from 1985 in Van Tiffen, or the goal line stand, or anything else. DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com, and our friends there at Odie's LT. Tell us about Odie's.
Odie's Tavern, great place to go. Enjoy the incredible food from Rodney Davis all weekend long. Live music tonight and tomorrow night, and also a fantastic place to watch NFL divisional action all weekend long. Ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light, those huge famous Odie's Cup cocktails. Stop in, see Will Haver. It's a Birmingham institution, 2 locations, newest location in Edgewood, original location in Crestline. It's Odie's Tavern.
The chat room confirms I was incorrect. Righty.
He's a righty.
Gunnar Rivers is a righty.
Yeah.
But he does throw like his dad. I've seen the video.
Yeah. All right. So big question for me is, do you think Michigan fans are feeling what Auburn fans felt in 2017 and 2021 on Monday night? Because Ohio State and Notre Dame have to be, I think, probably 1A, 1B. Ohio State obviously at the top, and then Notre Dame as the most hated team if you're a Michigan fan. And they're playing for the national championship. Auburn fans lived through this. Their two biggest rivals in 17 and 2021 played for a national championship. This is not a – I mean, you're coming off a nice national title, so you're not
That's
all
what I'm
beat
saying.
up.
I think it's a little easier to stomach for Michigan because they just went 15-0 and won a national championship.
Maybe.
With that said, they're pulling for Notre Dame.
They got to be. And there are, the correlation of, like in 2017 – Auburn had beaten Alabama the way Michigan has beaten Ohio State, but then they had to watch Alabama and Georgia play for a championship, so that made it even worse.
Now, as soon as I say that, Patrick Miller, a guy that we work with, and I'll never forget asking him before that game.
The 17 game?
Yeah, and he said the same thing that a lot of Auburn fans have said. I was like, are you even going to watch tonight? I don't know. I don't want to watch, but I'll probably watch. Who are you pulling for? I got to pull for Alabama because they win them all the time. Georgia hadn't won one yet.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame hasn't won one since 88. It's not like Ohio State wins them all the time. They haven't won one since 14. But Ohio State seems like the bigger year-in, year-out threat. Well, I don't think there's any doubt.
It was one of the funniest at the time, one of the funnier phone calls we had taken. We threw this out, and I remember a guy calling in and saying, look, I'm pulling for Alabama. They're arrogant as hell, but at least they've earned it. And, that was kind of the way I think people felt about Georgia fans at the time. Now Georgia's got the hardware to back it up.
But neither one of these fan bases should be arrogant because they don't win championships.
At the time, people used to say of Georgia, they've got Alabama's arrogance and Ole Miss's trophy case. and it was true at the time, and that has changed. I saw an interview with Rich Eisen, or piece of an interview with Rich Eisen and Riley Leonard on there. And Eisen, who is a legit Michigan fan, it's not for show. Like, we saw him, I don't know if you guys ran into him. I saw him out at the Bama-Michigan game last year at the Rose Bowl. And, decked out head to toe. Head to toe in Michigan stuff. And he said, I cannot tell you how much it pains me to say what I'm about to say, but I'm pulling for you guys.
Right.
He said the same thing you're saying is these are the two teams Michigan fans hate the most, which says a lot about Michigan State's program, by the way, that they're in the same state hour and a half, 2 hours away, and they don't even register in this discussion, apparently.
Yeah. So I got little T to call her dad, Don Korn, Michigan fan, big Michigan fan.
Michigan born, Michigan bred.
Yeah, because remember I brought the confetti last year back from the semifinal win, and he threw it up in his living room watching the national championship game when they finally beat Washington there. Don Korn says doesn't like either one of them. Ohio State, Notre Dame is the two big rivals. That he'll actually be cheering for Ohio State.
Oh, wow.
On Monday night.
So he's going Ohio State over Notre Dame?
Because we beat them.
Well, it might be. Hey, Michigan fans might want to keep Day around.
That's true. They own him. Go Lou Holtz on him.
Yeah, that's a great point there. All right. Before we get to the ads from yesteryear in America.
And by the way, these are not my ad concepts.
No, these are real ads
These
that
are
appear.
real. I didn't print these. Tyler had nothing to do with it. We just found very controversial ads that were actually in publications like Sports Illustrated and Time.
We're just highlighting how far we've come as a society.
Yes.
Yeah. Boy, I've never seen you have a heavier
now
disclaimer.
More scared than ever.
Have you ever seen Lance put such a big disclaimer on something?
Some of them you would honestly think are like a bit. Like they honestly
can't
come
be
off
real.
like a joke.
These are 100% real.
Oh, they're 100% real. Nobody's going to look at it and be like, oh, my God, there would be no FCC violations. How about that?
Okay. I got one other thing.
God, you worry so much.
Well, that's a pretty big disclaimer out of you.
It was. Did you just see what I wrote?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's what he's worried about?
It was a big disclaimer.
That's the whole theme, all 15.
The one other thing I wanted to point out was there's another report today that Carson Beck number is moving all around.
Right.
But the people who probably get their information from the NIL collective down at Miami they're on 3 sites that cover Miami, reporting that the Beck deal ends up being $4.4 million when it's all said and done.
That might be the highest number we've heard yet.
$4.4 million. And what they were pointing out was that Bo Nix next year will make $4.2 million. Where was Bo Nix drafted?
It was the top 15.
Yeah, 12th overall.
Yeah. That's why Quinn Ewers should have come back. I hope he goes in the first round.
Well, I was looking at Kuiper. I'm going to have to dig too far back to find this. Kuiper, see if I can, I'd like to find it because do you know who he had number 3? So he had.
Well, you look for it while
Okay,
the third quarterback.
Yeah, the third quarterback. Yeah,
go look it up while I put a note on this. Beck $4.4 million. Bo Nix will make $4.2 million the next 3 years each. So Beck one off will make Bo Nix money basically, and Bo was 12th overall. Another report yesterday said the Quinn Ewers offer that they can report from one program. I think it's believed it was from North Carolina. Was for $8 million for Quinn Ewers 1 year, and he turned it down because he wanted to be a Longhorn for life.
Yep. And I was on Chip's show yesterday, and they brought up the $8 million number. And
no way.
Look, I think that is great that you want to be a Longhorn for life. He didn't win a championship, though. So, you heard, was it Matt Mosey a couple of days ago? That
he won the Big 12.
That said, what does that really mean, though?
According to Chip, does that get his number? He was happy about getting his.
But you heard Matt Mosley say this is one of maybe the most underappreciated Texas quarterback of all time. That's your legacy.
Yeah.
So, to me, I'd come back and make $8 million where I could take care of some of my family, and I would solidify myself as a first-round guy. I don't think he's going to go in the first round. I hope he does. Nice kid, easy to pull for.
But if you're $8 million at North Carolina, there's no guarantee that team's not 7-5 next year, though. That's the problem.
No, but you look at the past. I mean, Drake May, they were basically 7-5 with Drake May, and he went in the top 10.
First of all, I do not believe North Carolina is offering him $8 million.
Oh, I don't believe that either.
No chance. Mel Kiper's top 10 quarterbacks. Shedeur Sanders 1, Cam Ward 2. That is going to be, I think, everybody's 1 and 2.
Flip it any way you want.
Either way
and
you
I
want.
think Cam will end up going 1.
Yeah.
But
who do you think he's got number 3?
I would say Milroe.
That is incorrect.
I'm going to go crazy off the board and say Kyle McCord.
That is incorrect.
Will Howard.
That is incorrect.
It can't be Riley Leonard.
That is incorrect. No, it can't be. That is correct. Yeah, it is not Riley Leonard. Yeah. Jackson Dart.
Oh,
Man,
wow.
I don't see that.
I don't either.
Mel's been doing this a long time.
Is he not just Matt Corral with better makeup?
Jackson Dart.
I do think Jackson Dart's a better quarterback than Corral.
Yeah,
but
probably.
And I think he'll be on a roster, but I don't think he – man, if he went in the first round, that would be shocking.
Milroe 4th. Ewers 5th is the reason I brought it up. Now, he does have Will Howard 6, Kyle McCord 7, Curtis Rourke 8, Tyler Shuck 9, Dylan Gabriel rounds out his top 10. But there, Scott's got it right there. Jalen Milroe 4th, Quinn Ewers 5th. So if you're the 5th quarterback off the board, you're probably an early second-round guy.
Yeah, but you're not a first-round guy. In early second round, you're making 1.5.
It's going to take a team absolutely falling in love with you and saying, I think he can be our future. We got our starter right now. And we're in a good situation where we can make sure we get him to be in the first round.
But I don't think there's any chance. And, so two things. He wanted to establish himself as a Texas legacy quarterback, but he also wanted to be a first-round NFL guy. I don't think he's going to be a first-round NFL guy. If he would have come back, he's going to make twice the money that he will make next year in the NFL, in my opinion. And I think he would have been a first-round guy.
I mean, if Quinn Ewers goes 5th, if Jackson Dart goes 3rd, that's the bigger surprise. 3rd?
That would surprise me. All right. I have no nerves about this. No nerves about this. So let's do this. Tyler, pull them up. LT, walk us through. Now, these are, I'll say it again as a disclaimer. These actually were in nationally publicized magazines like Sports Illustrated, Time, Life, Gentleman's Quarterly, better known as
Believe
GQ.
it or not, if you go to a Publix, or better yet, if you go to a Books A Million, do they still have Books A Million?
Tyler says yes.
There's one up
one near me
Summit,
closed,
right?
I think.
Yeah. So you walk into a Books A Million, that back wall, there's magazines that are about 50 yards deep. So there's still a ton of magazines, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But there used to be more. But here are some of the legitimate advertisements.
Do you have the year on all these or no?
I don't. So they fall for the man with PA, which means pipe appeal.
I've seen this ad.
Yeah, Prince Albert, PA and pipe appeal.
So if I smoke a pipe, she's going to love me.
Yeah, I mean, women love pipe appeal.
Oh, look at her now.
Now, I don't know what it says. There's something about the handsome, masculine look of a pipe that has an irresistible appeal. Women go for it as men go for the mild, rich taste of Prince Albert tobacco.
My grandfather smoked a pipe, and it was loose leaf sitting in this jar, and he had it was a wooden thing, glass jar with a wooden cedar top or applewood top, and then he had 2 holes that the pipe would sit in. and he'd open that top. He'd smell fantastic, and then he'd have to scoop it into that pipe, pack it down, and he'd light it, and that smoke would go out.
Shane Taylor smoked pipe when he was 17. I told you guys that. Hey, I think you get away with this one now.
This one right here?
Yep.
Yeah, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
Except nobody smokes pipes anymore. That's going to be your problem.
Yeah.
But I do love, all right, we got to have a guy picking a girl up. Well, let's make her ice skating a skirt.
Yeah.
That's going to make her super
I mean, that's about as much leg as you could show back then.
I know. So, she's in a skirt. What's she going to be doing? How about ice skating? Anybody got a problem with that?
What do they call legs back then? Gams? Look at the gams on that one. Okay. What's next?
My wife Jean is happy, pregnant, pretty and pregnant. Boy, am I glad I brought her a new Hot Point washer and dryer.
Only $249.
That's a good deal.
Yeah. Could you get away with that now?
She's happy, pretty, and pregnant. Yeah.
Okay. You guys start telling me we can't get away with these.
Nobody names their wife Jean anymore, but
that's true.
I guess nobody names their wife, but there are a lot of Jeans around there.
You know what you ought to be named? I think Hot Point, if they're still in business, probably would stop after pregnant. I don't know if they would go, boy, am I glad I bought her a Hot Point washer and dryer, because
somebody's got to do the clothes.
Anybody can do the laundry. Yeah. It's not a male or female job.
Okay, this one's old.
A gift mother will appreciate 365 days a year.
A mop bucket.
The K&A mop bucket. It's got a 5-year guarantee, too. See mother's eyes gleam at the labor-saving gift. She'll thank you every day of the year. The K&A is better because it can't scratch, can't tip over, and can't leave heat marks. It is built to last a lifetime. Add years to mother's life. Give her the world's best mop bucket, the K&A mop bucket.
Wow. Yeah, boy, it looks kind of complicated too.
Okay, so still not too controversial.
Well, I don't think a mother's going to want a mop bucket anymore. I don't think she did then either.
So that little foot thing, kept her from bending over and squeezing the mop. She didn't have to put her hands on it.
Yeah,
they're about to get better.
That's an innovation.
We're about to amp them up, aren't we? Aren't we, Tyler?
All right, here we go. How to hold a husband, Lance?
Serve him desserts glorified with Ready Whip.
It doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt.
Do you want to read that?
Boy, we used to put a lot of text in ads. Tonight, plan a quiet evening at home. Start it with your husband's favorite food. Then for dessert, serve him your own special chocolate pie glorified with Ready Whip. No need to tell him Ready Whip style, made with fresh, rich cream whips itself with the touch of your finger. No fuss, no work, no bowl or beater to wash. Keep Ready Whip in your refrigerator to glamorize pies, puddings, gelatins, cakes, every one of your husband's special dessert favorites, dozens of servings in each container. And remember, there's only one Ready Whip, your dessert magic secret that helps hold a husband.
Hold a husband.
Yeah. Ready Whip still around?
Oh, yeah, you can buy that.
I guess Ready Whip is. I think more Cool Whip has kind of controlled the market.
I just wish they'd randomly throw one of these out again just to get the reaction. If Ready Whip came out with, here's how you hold your
the retro ads.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we have next, Tyler?
Oh, boy. Mom's
Kids
tired.
or murder. Look how defeated she is.
Well, it's a mess.
Now, Dunaway, you want to read this one?
Sure. Probably need. There you go.
There you go. Thanks,
you always seem to be screaming at them, nagging and bullying, and most of the time you don't want to. You have to make yourself do it, and you don't seem to get anywhere. They just do the same stupid things again. Kids are hard work. It wears you out, and your husband wonders what's wrong with you.
What's wrong with
It's
you?
on days when you feel like this that
it looks too much like Satan, by the way. I don't know who named this.
Cetanogen tonic wine is such help. It makes basically it's drinking so you can keep your kids.
Yes.
It's wonderful, restorative, and a lot more, and you'll enjoy it. The pleasant tasting combination of tonic elements and rich ruby wine soon has you feeling like your old self again.
I love the one line, it makes life more bearable for you and them.
All right, so scroll down. So all we got to do is cut it out to get a free one?
Yeah.
How many husbands handed their wife that? Like, here,
a lot.
You need that.
Sanatogen tonic wine.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting better.
Yeah. Sounds like you just lost on The Price is Right, and this is our parting gift.
Uh-oh.
It's no fun to live with a wife with nerves. Overwrought nerves make all of us irritable, impatient, and, quote, hard to get along with. Anyone who is subject to nervous headaches, nervous irritable spells, nervous indigestion, sleeplessness due to nervousness and similar nervous problems deserves help, not criticism. When you find yourself worrying over trifles, staring, what is that?
Starting?
Startling at sudden noises?
Yeah, I think they have a misprint in there.
It looks like they got a typo.
Uh-oh. What happened to Don
Starting
Draper?
at sudden noises.
Hey, Don Draper's going to fire somebody.
Oh, yeah. So what kind of tablets are these? Nervine?
Nervine. Dr. Miles Nervine tablets. So you just drop it in like an Alka-Seltzer and it settles you down?
That's it, man.
Well, what do you think was in that?
It's going to be alcohol, I
Citric
guarantee you.
acid and bicarbonate of soda.
Hey, it's only 15 cents for a trial package.
That's what it till.
Yeah. Those nervous women.
You don't want them.
They used to be a problem, didn't they?
Lance. Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. I've read
Take
it
it,
now.
Brown.
Yeah, sure. I'll get this one, guys. Have some fun, period. Beat your wife tonight, period. Then celebrate with some good food and drink with your friends at your nearby BPA Fun Center. The bright modern lanes that give you air conditioning and open bowling all summer long. They give you air conditioning. It was a different world back then. And if your wife beats you, remember that your BPA Fun Center provides free lessons, which is also part of the fun. Go at your BPA Fun Center all summer long. Bowling's a ball at your BPA Fun Center.
Do you think that got people's attention when they
Yeah,
saw it?
I would say.
Beat your wife in bold letters for those that are listening, and then if your wife beats you in little small print there. Yeah, that one probably is kind.
Yeah.
That's probably the first one that couldn't come back today.
You think that's the one where they really debated this one heavily in the boardroom, and finally the old guy was like, print it. We're using
let's
that one.
roll with it.
Roll with it.
If they don't read the fine print, that's on them.
Oh, man.
No.
This is legitimate. This is the one I sent Luginbill.
Oh, my God. It's a Maybelline commercial,
It is,
too. They're
yeah.
still in business. How do they survive this?
Because sometimes dinner just isn't ready on time, and then it's a lady, for those that are listening, with a smile on her face and what it looks to be a black eye.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say she's got a shine.
She does.
She needs that Maybelline Natural Perfecting Concealer.
That
Wow.
one.
Oh, my God.
There's no way
that one's not going to get. If that one gets pitched, they're probably losing the job.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no way that one was real.
Oh, that was real.
Yeah, I cannot believe that one made it in. I mean, all of a sudden the bowling center
Look at
does have
this
the
one.
worst one. There's a whole handful of reasons to try new Tame, the cream rinse with texturizer. It's shampoo, but some dude's just got a handful of her hair and she ain't minding it.
Nope.
Oh my
What does
gosh.
it say in the?
I can't. Tame comes up with a real grab bar.
Grabber.
Oh, grabber. Thank
Yeah.
you. A cream rinse with texturizer. Just squeeze it on. Suddenly your hair feels more like hair. Texturizer. It kind of gets boring in there.
Yeah.
It just tells you about the product.
Yeah, but basically it's insinuating that
I think you
to
could-
make him happy, you need nice,
right.
thick hair.
I think you
that
could
he
get
can grab a
hold
hold of.
to.
I think you could get away with this one now. I mean,
I
I
do
think it would
too.
be very controversial,
Yeah.
but I think you get away with
Just by styles and everything, I'm going to tell you that's going to be. I'm going to go somewhere between 1977 and 1981.
it. I was going to say early '80s.
Yeah, because when I go back and watch old college football games, I try to find the ones that have the commercials still in them, and
Yeah.
that's sort of that era right there. That's that 1977 look.
What do we got next, Tyler?
Every morning's a Smirnoff morning.
Wow, how'd they get away with using Michael Jackson?
It is Michael Jackson, isn't it? Boy, she's haggard.
Dude, I mean, this is the start of the day.
Is that not Michael Jackson though?
It is, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if your day's starting like this, is it bad?
Every morning's a Smirnoff morning, Lance.
Yeah, those kids haven't.
Yeah, but
Those
it
kids
says
wake
it all.
up yet.
Yeah, just wait, those kids hit the floor. Oh, it's more Smirnoff.
Oh, I mean, look at that outfit she's wearing.
I never thought of burning my bra until I discovered Smirnoff. Anything's possible when you learn to handle Smirnoff.
Yeah. Now, this is the 70s. That's 100% the 70s there.
Yeah, she burned that bra, all right.
Okay, this is back to the 50s.
Joan says, I enjoy 7 inches every morning.
That's why Joan has big eyes.
And by the way, this is a advertisement for Florida oranges.
7-inch glass of orange juice is what
right.
Joan likes.
Yeah, Joan's got kind of a big hand, doesn't
Yeah,
she?
she does.
She does.
Yeah,
She's doing it like this.
that much orange juice.
What does it say? Any fun stuff in the fine print?
One vitamin your body will store up there. Boy, it gets real blurry.
If you can read it.
Yeah.
Hard pass on that. Oh my gosh.
literally.
Yes. I cannot believe they read that one.
Yeah.
Could you get away with that?
Oh, yeah, I think
I think you get away with that more now than you could back
Yeah,
then.
probably.
Maybe less controversial now.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, that's legitimate.
No,
That's
it's
not an ad. That's a story.
Well, no, it was you could buy these shirts. It was an advertisement for the T-shirt company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was
Lonely Ladies T-shirts.
I mean,
Mick Jagger, David Bowie, Chuck Berry, Alice Cooper. Oof. Yeesh.
Couldn't get away with that one.
I would say no. I'd say no. Lonely Ladies T-shirts probably didn't make it. Lance, there's no way this is real.
Dude, this thing is old.
Get out of bed, sleepyhead. Nothing gives them that rise and shine, get up and go more than cocaine, lozenges, and nasal inhaler. Did they really have this?
I don't. This is old.
I mean,
but
they used to. You could legally get cocaine from the apothecary back in the day. Could you not?
I don't know, but
I mean, it was
You
mixed
could,
in.
but I don't think it was powder. I wouldn't think it was powder.
this is going to be the first one I'm going to say is closest to a spoof.
The thing that, the thing that makes me think a little spoof on this one is the
powder.
No, the chemical like diagram up there at the top, the chemistry. I don't know what those things are called. What do you call those? Scroll up, Tyler. What do you call that thing right there?
That'd be like just the molecule structure.
Yeah, the molecule structure. I don't know. I mean, I know they knew that back then. But
it seems a little complicated for a 1930s ad.
There was a little bit of cocaine and a lot of alcohol put into a lot of the medicines in early days. Yeah.
Wow. Is that it? Oh, there's more. Butter good and good for you.
Butter is slippery. That's why we eat as much as possible to lubricate our arteries and veins.
That's false advertisement, right?
I do like butter. It's good. I don't know if it's
butter
good for me.
Butter is good. I think that's it.
No
Is that
doubt
it, Tyler?
Yeah, but that's the last one on the list.
Wow, my gosh.
A couple of those I think we did in the radio days, and they made it back. That's a good walk down memory lane of how ads used to.
Could you eat a stick of butter like that with a fork?
No, there's no way.
Oh,
there's no way.
One bite would put you under. Do you know how bad one bite of butter would be?
Yeah.
Be bad.
I like it cooked in
I
just
mean,
about anything.
I could take a bite of that, when you have the sorghum and brown sugar
Heck
butter
yeah,
and
no,
mix,
that's
I could
good.
take a bite of that.
Yes.
But, I mean, I couldn't eat a whole bar of even that. All right, that's a nice walk down memory lane brought to you by our wonderful friends at New York Butcher Shop. Listen, honey, if you need to have dinner on the table when your man gets home, you're a butcher shop.
Hey, look, you can be the hero of the house if you stop by the New York Butcher Shop. By the way, they've got fresh butter at the New York Butcher Shop. Anything you need. All the great little market items. Just a fun place to go in and shop, from the fresh meats, specialty items, a fine selection of great wines and desserts. 2 locations for you, the original in Cabo Heights, the newest location, Highway 119 right there in Greystone. Get in and see Jim and the incredible staff. Tell them the Next Round sent you. Rare quality, well-done service. It's the New York Butcher Shop.
Follow the Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan-Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Rolling into the back half of hour number 2 here, Todd Fuhrman, usually with us at 10 o'clock on Fridays, with us at 11 Central today to talk about the NFL games coming up this weekend. Before we get to four downs, a couple of NFL notes we'll get to, brought to you by our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa, LT.
Great place. Look, you're going to be watching divisional playoffs all weekend long. How about sending the wife or girlfriend to Birmingham's best day spa? It is the Woodhouse Day Spa, located right there at the Summit Shopping Centers. You can always just stop in there. You can pick up gift cards. You can just walk in, set up an appointment, or you can always go online. Go to birmingham.woodhousespas.com. You can choose from a menu of over 70 options: skincare, waxing, body treatments, massages, nail service. Again, Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. Order that special person gift online 24/7. birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Stop in, see Stuart, the great staff. Tell them the Next Round sent you.
Okay, so here is there's two Alabama players, former Alabama players, that are considered to be X factors on whether their team wins their playoff game this weekend or not. One of them obviously is Derrick Henry, X factor for the Ravens as they go and play in Buffalo against the Bills. That's the last game on Sunday, 5:30 CBS, Baltimore and Buffalo. Henry teamed up with Lamar Jackson.
65% of chance of snow.
Yep.
They said it's going to feel like it kicked -3 degrees with the wind chill.
And Henry and Lamar's ability to run against Josh Allen's and Woods' ability to it's a classic matchup. Henry's the X factor. The other one is in our first game on Saturday, 3:30 ESPN, Houston and Kansas City. And I was reading today at The Athletic, the way Houston's path to victory is, former Alabama star Will Anderson off the edge on Patrick Mahomes. They think they are able to exploit that one tackle. It seems like Kansas City always has one good tackle and then one bad tackle. And they think Will Anderson on the bad tackle is going to have a chance to disrupt Mahomes all day long.
If you're Kansas City, you look up, the tackle's like, wait, I'm the bad tackle?
Wait a second.
It's amazing. Like, nobody gave the Texans a shot last week against the Chargers. And now people are giving the Texans a chance to beat the Chiefs.
Yep.
Like, I just don't see it happen. Again, I would love to see it happen, but I do believe that whoever the Chiefs get in this next AFC championship round, I think will ultimately beat the Chiefs. I don't even think this is a good game. Now, I know when you look back at what the Chiefs have done, they haven't blown people out this year. I'm looking at double-digit wins. They've got – how many do you guys think they have of their 15 wins?
Their
The Chiefs?
Yeah, double-digit wins.
I'm going to say 1.
2.
They got 4.
4?
That's a lot more.
4-15. That's still not a lot.
That's
though.
not a lot, but
yeah.
you know.
So I mean, they just don't blow people out, and this is a really, really big number. You know, they're coming off the 38-0 loss when nobody really played against Denver. So I mean, Patrick Mahomes hasn't thrown a pass in a long time.
6 straight AFC championship games, right? Every year he's been the starter. They've been in the AFC championship.
So he is 6-0 in this round. Even more impressive, he's never thrown an interception in the divisional round. I think it's like 12 touchdowns and no picks.
Now, people are going to say on this stat I'm about to give you, well, this is no big deal. It's the Houston Texans. But for a period of time in the last 15 years, the Texans were perennial playoff teams.
Mm-hmm.
22 years of their organization's existence, they've never been past this round. They've never made it to an AFC championship.
Well, you guys remember it was, and I'll never forget this because I was at a Globetrotters game over on Sanford's campus.
Okay.
Oh, me and Jack. It's the first time we ever going to see the Globetrotters. And so this was 2020, right before the pandemic hit. But Bill O'Brien had the Texans up, I think 14 or 17-0 in the first quarter over the Chiefs.
Yep.
And then the Chiefs ended up skull dragging.
Oh, it was like 54-40.
Yeah, won the game going away. And,
like
you know,
that,
you go back earlier this year, they played, I think, in Week 15. The Chiefs won the game by 8. You know, C.J. Stroud turned it over a couple of times was the difference in that game.
But I remember in that broadcast when the Texans were up 17-0.
That was Deshaun Watson, too.
I think the analyst said the only problem with this, they're up 17-0, and it's still so early in the game that you wish they'd have killed more time going up 17-0.
Do you remember what happened? Bill O'Brien, I think he faked a punt when they were up like 14 or 17-0. And they got stopped, and that flipped the entire momentum.
Oh.
Like, again, I wasn't watching the game because I was at a Globetrotters game. But I think the big
I remember that now that you mention it.
Big factor in this game, Joe Mixon. He hasn't practiced this week. He's got an ankle issue again. He missed 3 games in the regular season with an ankle issue. He was so good last week against the Chargers, and he really, outside of the defense, wasn't the difference. If Mixon doesn't play, they've got no shot.
You tell me how hard this is in the NFL.
I do remember the fake punt now, though, Brownie, because when we came back on the show, it was like, how do you do that when you're up 17-0? Why do you not play it by the book? At that point?
I mean, it was. I thought I remembered this. It was 24-0. And tell me how hard this is to do in the NFL.
It's hard to. First of all, 24-0 at any point in an NFL game is really,
tell me how
difficult.
hard this is to do. It was 24-0 at the 10:54 mark of the second quarter, and they trailed at halftime.
That's impossible.
Do you know how hard that is to do in the NFL?
Had to have some interceptions.
No, they had to because that means that. That means the Chiefs got 4 possessions in 10 minutes.
They got 4 possessions in 10 minutes. They went 2 plays, 42 yards, 3 plays, 33 yards, 3 plays, 6 yards. There's your turnover. And 8 plays, 90 yards to make it 28-24 at the half.
How demoralized are you going into the half?
I was up 24-0.
Hey, remember we were up 24-0.
51-31 your final there.
Was that the end of Bill O'Brien? I guess
it was when people started saying the guy's got to go. Yeah.
Well, I think he might have gone after that.
Did he? That quick?
Yeah, because, you know, he did have some time in Tuscaloosa after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of years, in fact. In that Baltimore-Buffalo game, the final game of the weekend, since Week 11, the Ravens have had the number 1 scoring defense, the number 1 total defense, and the number 1 third down defense in football. So that Ravens defense that did not look like itself through the first 10 weeks of the season, since Week 11, looked like the old school Ravens team that have won championships before.
Well, they haven't given up more than 17 points since a loss to the Eagles, which was, I'm trying to see when this was. They lost 24-19 to the Eagles December 1st. Last time they gave up more than 17 points.
Statistically, these two teams are so close. Throughout the season, the Bills have scored 525 points with a point differential of plus 157 on the year. The Ravens have scored 518 points with a 157-point differential. Virtually the same seasons for the Ravens and Bills as they play each other this weekend. And then there is the Rams and the Eagles. It's the early game on Sunday, 2 o'clock on NBC. Philadelphia has won 13 of their last 14 games, and they've only allowed 20 or more points twice. This is built up as an Eagles defense that should smother your Rams.
Oh, look, they're giving up over their last 6 home games only a touchdown per game. I heard Dan Graziani this morning. He was the only guy on the panel that had the Rams winning this game. But he said what I said yesterday when we were talking to Dan Orlovsky. When you look at the quarterback-coach combo, it's not even close. But outside of that, I mean, this Eagles defense is so good. Saquon is so good. The Rams defense is so young. I would be shocked if the Rams win this game.
I'm not shocked.
I'll be really, really
I'm
surprised.
Shocked. I mean, I think the Eagles win it, but it's not going to shock me. You've got the better coach.
Okay,
listen. I mean, this is so important in the NFL, especially in the postseason. You've easily got the better coach, and you've easily got the better quarterback. I mean, that alone decides a large portion of NFL football games.
Well, last 5 road games for Sean McVay in the postseason, 4-1 against the number 3 and 2 straight up. So he had some success on the road. I just think with that crowd, with the weather, and these are the only elements the Rams would have to face because went from playing in Arizona to Philadelphia, then they'll probably play in Detroit, or they would host the Commanders if they pull off that upset. But if I ask you guys, of the 3, like we know Buffalo and Baltimore's coin flip, but put in like shocking order of upsets of those 3 other games.
Just real quick,
because they're all touchdown plus.
Before we move on from Rams-Eagles, what's crazy is how close it is as a receiver. I mean, they've got Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, and it's not – I mean, those are really good, but, I mean, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are fantastic.
Yep.
Now, where you guys offensive line's nowhere close. Philadelphia's offensive line's the
Our
best in the
offensive
NFL.
line's playing a lot better.
It is, but Philadelphia's the best in the NFL.
Tight ends, Higbee and Goddard.
I mean, Higbee's back healthy, and obviously
he was spitting up blood. He left in the second quarter.
He was vomiting blood.
But he had 5 targets and 5 grabs in the first quarter of that Minnesota game.
Yeah.
Such a big part of
it.
it.
But Goddard's better.
Yeah. So rank the shock factor. I would be most shocked if Houston beats Kansas City.
Yep.
Yeah. So let me.
Okay, go.
Houston, Kansas City, 3:30 ESPN.
Yeah.
1-4. Shock. That's number 1.
That's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 for me is you just do them in order.
Washington, Detroit,
That's
Saturday
number
night,
2.
7:00 Fox. That'd
That's
be
number 2.
I mean, is it
because-
correct that Washington hasn't been to the NFC Championship game since 1991?
Joe Gibbs.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
But just think about this: if you're Detroit, you went 15-2 in the regular season. You did everything to get a bye, and then if you were to lose this game to a rookie
Terrible.
quarterback, it would be
Yeah.
devastating.
Rams in Philadelphia, 2:00 Sunday, NBC.
You've got them in order. That's 3.
Yep.
And then, so in the order they play out on the calendar, and 5:30 CBS is a coin flip, Baltimore and Buffalo.
Yeah, who do you guys like in that game?
So you're
Baltimore.
saying snow likely in both of the Sunday games in Philadelphia and Buffalo.
Buffalo, 65%. I'll tell you.
I thought
earlier,
Philadelphia was the one that was
earlier
almost,
this week, it looked like there was going to be snow in Philadelphia, but you know how these.
Oh, I thought Philadelphia was the one that it was 100% was snow. And then Buffalo was the lesser chance
Philadelphia on Sunday, it looks like it is. Yeah, it's 80% chance of snow.
Yeah.
But the temperature is just so different. Like it's a high of 36, a low of 21.
Yeah, that's snow weather though.
Yeah, I mean you're going to see snow games on Sunday.
Yeah, and then but Sunday night I think Buffalo is going to be so cold that it's not going to snow. It's you know what I'm saying?
Too cold to snow.
Too cold to snow.
But
So like my dad.
you know, they
It's not gonna stick.
tried. You know, I listened to EJ Manuel a little bit. We had on Jacob Hester yesterday. And you guys remember when Buffalo drafted EJ because of his hand size,
right.
because they wanted a quarterback that could play in these elements. They have found the ultimate cold weather quarterback. Now, he hasn't won him a championship
That's right.
yet, but this is why you pay him $50 million a year, these type of games.
By the way, in that rivalry, Lamar Jackson leads at 3-1 in regular season game. Josh Allen has won the only playoff meeting between the two. So they're 3-2 all time in 5 meetings between those two quarterbacks. Lamar's on the regular season, the one only meeting. Josh and the Bills have won that one. That's the NFL this weekend. Our 4 Downs brought to you by our friends at Slice. Tell us about Slice Pizza, and we'll jump into that.
Hey,
man.
look, the weekend is here. Place you need to go is Slice. Local pizza, local ingredients created by the late Jeff Bajaya. We all miss him. His brothers, Jason and Chris, continue to celebrate his legacy, but stop in for lunch or dinner from the Soul Pie to the Hot Mama. 5 locations, Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, newest location in Edgewood. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Better chance of ever winning a national championship, James Franklin at Penn State or Mark Few at Gonzaga?
James Franklin, he'll do it longer than Mark Few. And I do feel like Few's window has closed at Gonzaga. And Franklin, whether he's at Penn State or he finally does take another job that he always seems up for, he'll have more shots at it moving forward than Mark Few.
See, here's what's interesting is Gonzaga now out west. You've taken UCLA, USC, Oregon, or really good basketball programs, but they're now playing in the Big Ten. So that's a lot of travel. Gonzaga is the biggest on-campus thing. They don't have football, so their NIL. They play in front of great crowds. I don't know if Gonzaga is going to go away. They're down this year. They're not the same team.
They're 11th at the KenPom. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, I was going to say they're still good, but there's something off. But all it takes is really a Chet Holmgren. All it takes is one dominant player.
And I feel like
Jalen Suggs.
I feel like they'll have some NIL money to where they can.
Oh, and by the way, would you agree with this? Mark Few is an outstanding coach. James Franklin's an okay coach.
Yes, I would.
I just think there's going to be a lot of, Gonzaga, obviously there's a lot of barriers there. I'm going to still go Mark Few.
Yeah, I would go Few.
Probably neither, but I'll go Mark Few.
But
over
are we to the point where you think Few just retires at Gonzaga?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever leave there for another job.
I don't either.
Do you think Franklin will finish at Penn State?
He'll never have a job as good as Penn State again.
Yeah.
He gets rumored for a lot of them that are as good as Penn State.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
That has ended.
Okay.
Of course, he just had his best season ever.
I know. Yeah. That has ended, you said.
Second down.
Kid Rock, 54 years old today. Better career, ultimately, Kid Rock or Chris Rock?
Oh, it's Chris Rock.
Yeah, not even close.
Yeah. Oh, not even close, Tyler.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Kid Rock had a couple of hits.
No, I think Kid Rock is more known now for his political affiliations.
I've seen
Like
pictures
Ted
with him
Nugent.
drinking Budweiser and Bud Light all the time. So, he is a political figure, yes. His music, I liked his music. There's a lot of songs I listen to, but has he put out anything good in how long?
I don't think he's put anything out good since his debut album.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I liked a little slow song with Sheryl Crow, but that's been a long time.
That was awful.
Oh, the old Hank Williams cover?
Yeah.
The picture?
Yeah.
And they, what was the takeoff of the Leonard Skinner? That was one of the worst songs.
Summer long.
Oh, yeah. I did not like that one.
If
that's a
you
great
ask
song.
the song,
You like that
All
song?
Summer Long? Yeah.
Yes. You like that song?
Yeah, it's on the lake in Michigan.
the song or the question you asked yesterday in 4 Downs about the worst movie of all time, that would be maybe my worst song of all time.
No, who wouldn't like to lay around with a young lady in the lakes of Michigan as the sun is setting and playing Sweet Home Alabama?
All summer long.
That is.
I
that's
agree.
romance.
I think it is Chris Rock. He's hosted the Oscars. He's done some of the most incredible stand-up out there.
He's funny, man.
Was in Grown Ups.
He is the guy who.
He was the zebra in Madagascar.
Yeah,
He was.
Okay. He's done a lot more work than that.
To me, they've sort of been spaced out perfectly in my life. It was. Rock more in modern day.
It was you went
then,
probably Richard Pryor to Eddie Murphy.
Murphy, and then those are the three, and they sort of were spaced out where I think those three were very elite stand up. And Chappelle does it differently, but he's probably my favorite comedian.
Third down.
Who was the comedian that was on our show right after he got in trouble for trying to storm the stage in the Philadelphia Eagles celebration?
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, that's right. Okay, go ahead.
He's not funny, but very, very, very talented.
I was trying to remember who it was. I could not say his name.
Dwayne Wade, 43 years old. Jim Carrey, 63. Better career, ultimately, Dwayne Wade or Jim Carrey? Jim Carrey's nothing but shit movies outside of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
See, I like Truman Show. I don't think that's. I think
Well,
Truman Show's
okay.
an excellent
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Dwayne Wade, 2 championships.
He was in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber's a good movie.
Yeah.
See,
So-
you were way too
yeah.
quick to crap on his career.
Okay, how about
He's
this?
your Riley Leonard.
Yeah, I would say
Dwayne Wade, much more successful seasons year in, year out than movies for
I would agree with you on that one.
I was going to answer Dwayne Wade as my correct answer, but I got to defend Jim Carrey a little bit. Like Cable Guy, I thought was really good.
Jim Carrey was on a really good run with like Pet Detective, Ace Ventura, and Dumb and Dumber, and a few other movies.
I
It was
enjoyed
just
Liar
hits
Liar.
back to back.
Yeah.
So
I think I would go Dwayne Wade.
when you
though.
think of Dwayne Wade, his height was LeBron and Chris Bosh.
No. I
For me, it was.
I go back to 2006 when Shaquille wasn't the Shaquille we remember with the Lakers, and Dwayne Wade absolutely, they were down 2-0 to the Mavericks, carried them. And
Wade was the alpha.
Yep.
Shaq was the supporter.
I think more people are going to remember him from that time with the Heat, with LeBron, and Chris Bosh, because of the way all that unfolded.
But I don't think he would ever get the credit that he deserves.
I was about to ask that question. How do you rank those three? LeBron's obviously number one.
Oh, D-Wade, too.
D-Wade's easily two, and then Bosh third, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, he never, like Kobe, when he finally got a ring with Paul Gasol, then it was like, Kobe's the man. Like, people said he couldn't do it without Shaq. Dwayne Wade did it in reverse, but I think if Dwayne Wade just would have won championships with LeBron and Bosh, I don't think he would get the credit that he really deserves.
And then people will forget, Dwayne Wade was fantastic at Marquette. And
Final Four. They beat a great Kentucky team to get there.
He led them in all categories, like what I told you, Cooper Flagg and Johni Broome, those type people, Yaks down at UAB. It's only been done 50 times since 1986. One of the guys that did that was Dwayne Wade.
By the way, he made, and I like this guy, he made Tom Crean so much money because of that run in Marquette. I mean, it got Crean the Indiana job.
Jim Carrey was the first actor to ever be paid $20 million to star in a movie.
What movie was that?
The Cable Guy.
Wow. $20 million, huh?
Yeah, because he came off of the run of The Mask, Ace Ventura.
Yeah, I remember
Dumb and Dumber.
Going to see The Cable Guy. I've said this before. It was the first time when the credits used to roll before the film, and Jack Black came out. I was like, damn, that's a cool name.
Jack Black.
Yeah.
Jack Black.
I'll tell you this, if they ever build a statue of Jim Carrey, it will look better than the Dwayne Wade statue for sure.
That is accurate. That's 100% on that one, yes.
That is a low bar to jump over.
Yes.
That's a good pull by you, Milton. Good pull.
4th down.
Muhammad Ali would have been 83 years old. Ben Franklin would have been 319 today.
Who'd win in a fight?
Muhammad Ali or Ben Franklin?
Better career?
Yeah.
Ben Franklin.
I get Ben Franklin inventions and Leonardo da Vinci inventions confused sometimes.
Do you?
Oh, there's
Sure you're not
only a
thinking of
couple
Thomas
hundred years
Edison?
between them.
Yeah, no.
Like Da Vinci, like way before his time, the helicopter and all that stuff, right? Sketches of the helicopter. And like this, whenever Da Vinci lived, in my head, the 1600s.
Wait, did Da Vinci used to sketch helicopters?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he had sketches of all different sorts of like early aircraft.
So is this like a dream sequence that he had, or he just this is the way we're gonna fly one
Or
day?
he was a time
he
traveler.
Slept for like 20 minutes at a time, so he was kind of nuts.
Yeah.
And he would just sketch some of this stuff out.
Really amazing, his ideas.
he
Ben
was-
Franklin is a great statesman, right?
All I got to say here, editor of the Declaration of Independence, okay? I think that ends this. I don't even think we have to discuss.
He's editor. I mean, somebody else
He
wrote it.
edited the Declaration.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody else wrote it, and they're like, before we fire this off to the king and start a war, somebody let Ben look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but somebody
That's a
else would
pretty
have
important-
looked at it.
Well, somebody else could have boxed. I mean,
I don't think
Ben
his
Franklin
level.
couldn't have fought Frazier.
he could not have.
Yeah,
no.
Rumble in the Jungle, man.
Muhammad Ali could not have edited the direct Declaration of Independence. I will tell you that.
More women back in the day, though. Benny Franklin.
I don't know.
I heard
Benny got after it. Yeah.
I heard Ben got after it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
Ben
that probably
Franklin.
would be pretty close.
It is not close. This is Ben Franklin.
I'll
This
take
is
Muhammad
easy.
Ali, greatest.
No, I'm
of
talking
all
about the
time.
women.
Oh, yeah, the women, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the easiest one you've ever answered. Ben
Ali
Franklin.
for me.
Father of our country. One of the fathers of founding fathers.
Oh, I had a
United States of
another
America.
one. Steve Harvey, 67 today. If I went Steve Harvey or Steve Garvey.
Are we doing more
or Garvey?
kids? Steve Garvey, more kids, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's popped them out.
Always brought to you by our friends at Slice. Stop in, get a slice and a salad today. Pick up a couple of pizzas on your way home tonight. 5 locations. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
Steve Garvey for me in that one because led both the Dodgers and the Padres.
That was my favorite player growing up. I had a miniature schnauzer named Garvey.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a good name for a dog, too. All right, top of the hour here. When we come back, Todd Fuhrman joins the show. Don't forget, as you're getting out to see America in 2025, our friends at Johnston RV Center can help you out.
Also, Ben Franklin on the $100 bill, I'll point out. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV Center and johnstonrvcenter.com. They're making way for the 2025, so that means things like the Shasta 16RE, just $149 a month with approved credit. The Avenger 29 QBS can sleep up to 10, just $279 a month with approved credit. Lifetime warranty on everything that is new or qualifying pre-owned at Johnston RV Center. johnstonrvcenter.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the BJCC. With customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall. Sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only meet All Elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hang out with The Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out The Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hang out with The Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out The Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there. Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Gameday collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
I told you yesterday that Harrison Wallace, the top receiver for Penn State, not only in the portal, but had 4 schools lined up. The only SEC school was Tennessee. That changed after the show yesterday. He's also going to visit Ole Miss as Lane Kiffin tries to rebuild that offense over there. And there is a chance that Notre Dame would like to wake up the echoes of Tim Tebow on Monday night. The only other team in the BCS playoff era to lose a game in the regular season by 3 touchdowns or more as a favorite of 3 touchdowns or more, and then go on to win the national championship was 2008 Florida.
Yeah, the loss to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And that was when Tebow had the infamous post-game speech, right? That is now, I guess it's now immortalized outside of Ben Hill Griffin, right?
Yeah, with a statue and everything. So Notre Dame would like to come back from being a 3-touchdown dog, a favorite, I should say, in losing to Northern Illinois and go on to win the national championship. 2008 Florida, only one to do that since the start of the BCS. Let's bring in Todd Fuhrman. We will talk first about the national championship game on Monday with Fuhrman and then get to the NFL playoffs this weekend. Bet the Board podcast with all the great stuff. And NASCAR cranking up soon. The best NASCAR podcast you'll ever want right there with Fuhrman. Todd, welcome in, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm good, gentlemen. Hopefully you guys are as well for what should be a busy and hopefully exciting football weekend, both of the pro and college variety.
Yeah, the feeling, though, at least here, and we want your feeling, is that Monday night's national championship game will not be filled with excitement. It feels like an Ohio State blowout, at least from my layman point of view. Give the points, take Ohio State, and sleep easy that night. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to go that far. Now, full disclosure, I don't have a bet on the side or total and probably won't in the game on Monday. But you look at what Notre Dame has been able to accomplish all season long, and clearly Ohio State is going to pose a very different test with some of their difference makers and skill position talent, both at the running back and wide receiver position. But these aren't unfamiliar foes. I mean, Notre Dame took on Ohio State last year, and while Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't 100%, the Irish had a chance to win that game up until the waning seconds. And even when Ohio State was a little bit more dynamic with C.J. Stroud, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, you saw what Notre Dame could do to try and muddy up the waters a little bit and make it difficult on Ohio State. So it'll all hinge on what Al Golden can scheme up to try and complicate things for Will Howard, neutralize the effectiveness of Jeremiah Smith, who was kind of an afterthought in the 28-14 win. But on the other side of the ball, the $100 million question, how does Notre Dame go about moving the football against this Ohio State defense, a group that has kind of flown under the radar through 3 college football playoff victories, and they've been one of the stingiest units in the entire country. I mean, only Oregon has been able to score 21 points or more against them this season. Of course, the Ducks did it twice, one of which came in garbage time. So Notre Dame's going to be successful, cover a number, have a chance to win outright. I think it's got to be a lower scoring rock fight than even the total at 46 suggests.
Furman, I know people don't play to give up juice, but don't you feel like if you played Ohio State and under, you get at worst case a split? I just don't see a world where we get Notre Dame and over.
You know, it's interesting because it's always a little bit of a delicate proposition looking to try and lay the 8 points with a total this low. So you have to go through some of those scoring permutations and figure out how you think the game will go. I think a lot of people would have echoed your sentiments, LT, saying that Notre Dame and over wouldn't have been a correlation that they wanted to try and back against Penn State either. And while I'm not going to put Ohio State's defense and Penn State's in the same breath or tier for that matter, you always want to kind of, you know, build in a contingency plan for all of those different options that are there. And if you feel like Ohio State and under make a world of sense, you can kind of reverse engineer that and give yourself one bet and maybe bet Notre Dame's team total under 17.5 and give yourself a couple of different outs.
Todd Fuhrman is with us, Bet the Board podcast. Follow him on social media as well at Todd Fuhrman. He's just a wonderful wealth of knowledge when it comes to everything sports, including his love for NASCAR. And again, as I said, less than a month away from the Daytona 500, starting another season there. But the NFL playoffs, we're to the divisional round point starting tomorrow. And that very first game out of the gate, 3:30 ESPN, Houston and Kansas City. If the Texans are involved, that's usually the least interesting game on the slate. I don't know if that echoes with bets in Las Vegas, but the Texans, do they pose any threat to the high-powered Chiefs?
I think from a defensive standpoint, Houston is going to be a little bit of a thorn in Kansas City's side. Unfortunately for the Texans, the Chiefs have had 24 days to scheme up a game plan for this particular matchup and get healthy, more importantly than anything else. And you look at some of the skill position talents on the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they don't have a large sample size of what this offense is going to look like with a healthy Isaiah Pacheco, DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce, and some of the other players that haven't been available, all season long. Houston's bigger concern for me is what they can do on the offensive side. And with Nico Collins as kind of the only game breaker they have in that receiver room, I think it poses a very difficult proposition, especially if Joe Mixon is as banged up as we're led to believe with that lower body injury that forced him to get in a limited on Wednesday's practice and then a DNP on Thursday. So a lot of people trying to make a case for the underdog being live. I would not be one of them. I'm not sure I'm ready to step in front of this divisional round, freight train that has been the Kansas City Chiefs in the past. They don't punt early, and if Houston gets themselves behind the down and distance and has to play catch-up all game, I'm not sure it'll end well. So lean towards the Chiefs here, but this number kind of sitting in no man's land, not running to try and get involved. And again, I think Houston, if their team total did leak up to 17, that would be the angle that I would attack. I think Houston struggles to score more than 14 points against this Chiefs defense.
Both of these Saturday games, these numbers move, and you mentioned Kansas City hadn't played in a while. Same for Detroit, getting the 1 seed there. This number's up to 10. Seems like the public's backing a rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels. It's a lot of points, but if I played this, Fuhrman, I think I would have to lay this.
And I'm right there with you. I think it's tough to try and make a strong, compelling case for Washington in this spot. Jaden Daniels, deserves a world of credit. It's going to be the offensive rookie of the year and has exceeded everyone's expectations, not just in Washington, but across the league. But this feels like a major step up. And one of the things that Washington has done so well this year is be aggressive, going on fourth downs, 20 of 23 converting during the regular season, followed up going 3 of 5 against the Buccaneers. If those fourth downs, though, don't end up in drive-sustaining plays and create short fields for the Lions, I think this game can snowball quickly. Washington also likes to play a ton of man coverage on the defensive side, and the last time that Detroit saw a team that played predominantly man, they hung a 50 spot on the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I have real concerns about Washington's ability to provide much in the way of resistance, and if they get themselves into a track meet here, I just don't think they have the weaponry to keep up. So if I was getting involved in this one, it would be Detroit or nothing, and I think Detroit has an opportunity to score 35 or more. Actually lean over the total at 55.5 too. My big concern, though, is if one of these teams does build a lead, do they try and run the football to shorten the game? Something that we know the Lions will be extremely capable of doing with their tandem of backs both available in the form of David Montgomery and, of course, their bell cow now in Jahmyr Gibbs.
I'll save Rams and Eagles for LT because he'll have a couple of questions for you. But on Sunday night, 5:30 CBS, Baltimore and Buffalo, I look at the metrics, the point differentials, the veteran quarterbacks. I mean, this is, to me, about as much of a wash as you can get in an NFL football game. This seems to be, to use a racing term, the old IROC series, two equally prepared cars going against each other on Sunday night.
And clearly the crown jewel of the divisional round, and that's why they're saving the best for last in what should be frigid conditions in Orchard Park, New York. The coldest game most likely that Lamar Jackson will have ever quarterbacked as a member of the Baltimore Ravens. Zay Flowers not going to be available, or at least I don't expect him to be available, so it changes Baltimore's ability to stretch the field. But what you're going to see a lot of from the Ravens will be two tight end sets, and this is a Buffalo defense that's a little bit undersized. Will they commit additional resources to the box to try and take away the Derrick Henry running game that was so problematic for them the first time around, with Henry running for 199 yards with 150 of those coming on just 3 explosive runs. But I don't want to ever discredit Sean McDermott and what he is able to do as a defensive wizard and trying to come up with creative game plans. This number saw Buffalo open as a short favorite, Baltimore move to a favorite. Wouldn't be surprised if it ticked back, but I think this total is rather big for these two teams, especially given the strides that we have seen Baltimore make down the stretch. Now, some of that aided by schedule, but I think these two teams may try and run the football, establish the line of scrimmage, and a level of physicality, especially early on. So I like the first half total under at 24.5 or better in this game. I think folks, if they're looking for this to turn into a good old-fashioned shootout like the total suggests, maybe a little bit disappointed unless one of these teams has to erase a double-digit deficit at any point during the game.
Fuhrman, earlier in the show, we were talking about the weather, and I'm looking right now on McAfee, and they're talking about it's going to snow throughout the game in Philadelphia. It is going to snow at least at kickoff of Ravens-Buffalo. How much do you factor in weather when you're looking at a total here?
It always depends. Wind is normally the dominant factor. If you're talking about sustained gusts, that's going to have a negative impact on the overall scoring capabilities. for both teams. And in this game, you mentioned the snow. If it's a light dusting, that can oftentimes favor the offense because they have better footing. They know where they're going. But if it's going to be a steady accumulation like we saw earlier this year on Sunday Night Football between the Buffalo Bills and the 49ers, it can be a problem for two teams that want to get their playmakers out into space. And unfortunately for your Rams, not used to playing in these kind of conditions, it normally favors a team that's a little bit more physical on the offensive and defensive line and a group that can run the ball. So advantage Philly in that department, but I'm not going to clamor to lay 6 in the potential elements, but I do think you're going to see some under money continue to come in. We've started to see a light trickling in that department, 44 slowly disappearing, turning into 43.5.
Yeah, it's the one team as a Rams fan I did not want them to see in the NFC playoffs was the Philadelphia Eagles. I just don't think they match up well. When you're looking at the player prop, obviously Saquon Barkley ran wild. Have you seen a number on Barkley for this game?
It is absolutely massive. I mean, if you're going to bet Barkley over his total, at last check, it was 110.5.
Wow.
So you're going to have to pay a little bit of a premium to get there. And I can't quite do that. Now, do I think he has a chance to get there? For sure, because Philadelphia is not going to abandon what's taken them to this point in the season, especially with concerns about the passing game, the elements, and all of that. But it takes so many things to go right, even for a back as talented as Saquon. Let's see if the Rams' defensive improvements show up in a game like this. I'm not sure that they can put 8 men in the box and play their DBs on an island against a healthy Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, but it will be interesting to see if Chris Shula can follow up arguably his signature performance on Monday Night Football against Sam Darnold and the Vikings and replicate that effort against the Philadelphia offense that quite frankly looked like it was stuck in quicksand wild card weekend against the Packers, with Jalen Hurts putting up one of the worst historic performances that we've seen from an offensive success rate, since they started tracking those metrics over a 200-plus game sample size.
All right, Todd Fuhrman on the JohnsonRVCenter.com hotline. 3 SEC basketball games of interest tomorrow. I know the lines aren't out yet, or at least I don't think so. But Alabama trying to bounce back from that loss at home at Kentucky. Auburn, number 1 in the country, number 1 in all the metrics, on the road at Georgia, and Ole Miss, who beat Alabama on the road at Mississippi State. 3 tricky road games against really good basketball teams. 6 of the better teams in this packed SEC conference playing head-to-head early tomorrow. What do you make of that slate? Anything pops for you on those 3 basketball games?
You'd have to think that Alabama could bounce back a little bit offensively. Clearly struggled with Ole Miss looking to take the air out of the ball and slow down tempo. I mean, 0.84 points per possession like we saw from the Tide. Not exactly going to get it done, even in a home game when you come in as a double-digit favorite. I expect Alabama to open as a short favorite or maybe even a pick'em against Kentucky for that game at Rupp tomorrow. I don't see Rupp as one of the more daunting places to play in the SEC, and I know that's blasphemy for SEC college basketball fans, but it's a home court advantage that, at least over the years has lost a little bit of its luster. Auburn fans should be a little bit more optimistic with where this number opens against Georgia. I expect it to be approaching double digits, kind of in that 8.5, 9 range. We'll see if Auburn can continue to go out there and play at a high level. You do wonder if there's a little bit of regression at some point in their play when you talk about being down, your potential player of the year candidate and one of your difference makers in Johni Broome. And the other game that you mentioned, as you try and figure out how some of these other contests will play out in the SEC, look, home court advantage has played a major role in a lot of these games, and I kind of expect some of that to continue. So for some of these other programs, I still think they're looking up at the Alabamas and Auburns in the SEC. I'm not as high on Florida, but let's see if the Gators can find a way to put together a slightly more complete effort in that disappointing effort against Missouri, losing that game as a heavy favorite 83-82 on Tuesday night.
Yeah, last night was a crazy night, speaking of home court advantage, with Michigan losing on the road to Minnesota, and you had Memphis lose at Temple. It was just one of those crazy nights in basketball. He's Todd Fuhrman, man. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you next week. Bet the Board podcast. Go check it out, Fuhrman. Have it, bet. But see you.
Hey, always a pleasure, guys. And we know college basketball, there is no such thing as an easy road win, especially in conference. Enjoy the games this weekend, gents.
See you, man. Todd Fuhrman there with us on the JohnsonRVCenter.com hotline. This hour brought to you by our friends at Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Wonderful place to go on this 61-degree day. Go have lunch with friends, maybe even warm enough to sit outside with a little outdoor seating there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. It is Sterling and his crew at Champy's Chicken, brined overnight, cooked to order, southern fried chicken, all the great sides, and Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It's our friends at Champy's Chicken.
Were you a little surprised? Just real quick, I wanted to ask you about Tom Brady's agent came out, longtime agent Don Yee, and he told Sports Business Journal that Tom Brady will be in the booth for Fox for his duration of his 10-year contract.
I have it written down here. LT, I see that as a negotiating ploy. I think that is we're not gonna let up our contractual obligation to the money you owe us.
But we're open to you paying us off.
But if we want to come up with a settlement so that we could go be full-time with the Raiders or whatever we're going to be with the Raiders, and you're not happy with my performance, let's find some middle ground and come to a settlement here, and let's part ways.
Do you look? I think we're all in agreement that, I mean, I don't know if we're grading Tom Brady on how good of a football player he was to the booth. I think
a little bit,
maybe a little bit, but I think it's more you're grading him against the Troy Aikmans and the Tony Romos of the world, and he's not that good.
Yeah.
But do you think Fox looks at him and says, "Man, we overpaid for this guy"?
You did. You overpaid. You ran promotional commercial campaigns early in the year. Do you remember they would show Tom Brady and little Tom Brady and other Tom Brady talking
like how good he was going to be,
just to promote the game. They say you can't do it, Tom.
Yep.
Blah blah blah. Tom Brady on the call this weekend, Cardinals and Rams, and it's also exclamation points because he has the biggest game on Fox every week.
Yeah.
So it's the biggest game, and you don't have the best announcer on the biggest game.
I don't know how he's got the time to do it to begin with. I mean, if you really behind the scenes are going to be an owner and an operator of the Raiders, and if you are in the best interest of the Raiders and them being successful, how you can take the time you need to allot to Fox and preparing for a game week in, week out. I don't know how you do both.
Well, see, I think that's going to be a great way to save face. He doesn't really need the money. They'll come up with a small financial settlement. Fox will be able to get out of it, and then he'll be able to announce that, listen, I talked with Fox. With what I'm going to be doing with the Raiders, I just can't commit enough time to this, and they'll part ways. I don't even expect him back in the booth next year, let alone the entire contract that he has there with Fox. Tell us about our friends at Hemp Hill Services, and I have two more things I want to get to in this segment. One of them includes where Auburn's place is in college basketball right now.
Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, cooling issues. If any of these come up in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Call 205-229-2090. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Hemp Hill Services. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Auburn will host College Game Day a week from tomorrow back at Neville Arena. 5th straight year that Game Day has come down to Auburn. And my question is, do you think there are people yet that put Auburn into the blue blood of college basketball? I guess you can't be a blue blood because that's old money that's you have to have done it for generations to do that. But Auburn...
And there's probably 20 teams that have been to multiple Final Fours. I mean, Auburn's been to one Final Four. Yeah. They've never won a national championship. No, not even close.
They're getting this game day again, though. So at least in this point in time, that atmosphere is recognized. The program is recognized up there with the Dukes and the Kentuckys. Those are the places that usually host game day every Saturday.
Yeah,
there'll be one at Cameron Indoor.
Yeah,
this
I
year.
think in the moment, I think it is viewed as one of the most difficult electric environments in all of college football. But, back to the blue blood thing, I think even Florida winning back-to-back national championships, I don't think you consider Florida one of those traditional programs.
Tennessee and Auburn game day a week from Saturday. But this is crazy. Taylor broke down the numbers using the net last night. And she put this graphic out, I think, on her social media at Taylor Corn. 22 quad one games is what Auburn could end up have played at the end of this regular season. The rest of Auburn's schedule, all but 2 of the games right now, according to the net, are quad one games.
Now, is this going to be, look, I mean, I know it's not going to be for all 16 SEC teams, but do you think they're a good majority of the SEC teams are playing 20-plus?
Yeah, I haven't seen her if she's done the Alabama numbers on that yet, but I would imagine the Alabama number is going to be close to 22. I would imagine, anybody else that had a good pre-conference schedule who played 6, 7.
I mean, there's only
Q1 games.
There only seems like 4 give-me games moving forward, and that's at LSU, Oklahoma, at Vanderbilt, and Arkansas.
Here is the tweet that Taylor sent out about the quad 1 games. The only quad 2 right now left on Auburn's schedule is home to Oklahoma and home to Arkansas. And those are the only two quad 2 games.
That's amazing that
schedule.
Vanderbilt and LSU, I guess both being on the road,
would help that out.
Yeah.
Would help that out. And the quad 1, that's the money ball in resume wins.
Fuhrman, he believes this thing's going to creep up on double digits. That would really surprise me without Broome.
Yep.
Playing in Stegman, but we'll see what that number is. Again, I think Auburn's going to be more 4.5 to 5.5. He thinks 8.5 to 9.
When you talk about Auburn this weekend, give me cut 2, Tyler, if you will. They're on their way to play Georgia, and Bruce Pearl makes a point that in his time at Auburn, this is probably the best Georgia team on paper he's seen.
It's a talented team. It's the most talented they've had in Georgia in a while. Georgia's made a real commitment in NIL, a tremendous commitment. And we used to go to Georgia, and because of the fact that we have had success, develop players. We got about 6 guys from Georgia in the NBA right now. We go over there and really do well in recruiting. And for a lot of factors, including NIL, we can't go there and get the best players anymore.
Yeah. So
is that kind of a shot at Mike White? Or is it just the reality of the situation?
Well, why is it a shot at Mike White? Because he's saying they're talented. Because, they're having a good season.
No, but it's like Georgia is good now because of NIL, because of their commitment to NIL.
Yeah.
It really, that's the way it sounded on the front end of that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
If
it wasn't because of the NIL, Mike White wouldn't have a good
if he set it up like this, like Georgia is committed to basketball. They went out and they hired an excellent coach in Mike White, and they've put a lot of money into the NIL.
That is a different way of saying it. That does sound better for Mike White. Listen to Mark Pope here. If you're an SEC basketball fan, I know it's built into your fiber to hate Kentucky because they have run the league for years and years and years and years and years. It's not that case now because of Auburn and Alabama and Tennessee, but for most of everyone's lifetime, Kentucky. You go look at how many SEC championship tournaments, regular season championship, it's Kentucky, Kentucky, Kentucky. To hear the Kentucky coach, there were times, LT, it's safe to say Kentucky was almost embarrassed to be in the SEC in basketball.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah,
they thought they thought of themselves as much like maybe Gonzaga in the West.
Yeah.
They thought of themselves as like by far the alpha. We dominate the conference, and we're really the only relevant basketball program in the entire conference.
We're going to play Indiana. We're going to play North. All this great out of conference stuff because eventually we're going to get into the SEC, and we're better than the SEC. Listen to the current Kentucky coach rave about the Southeastern Conference.
It's so awesome. Like, it's so fun. We played 4 league games now. How fun is this, right? You think about like even the Georgia disaster, right? It was fun and learning, and it actually has made us a better team. Like the Georgia disaster helped us prepare for Mississippi State and for Texas A&M and Florida as a first game. Those guys coming here undefeated, and that epic, like one of the most fun games we've ever got to play and witness together. And they're all so different, right? And so they test you in different ways, and they expose you in different ways, and you get to learn so much. And I love every second of it. Like it's, I've said this a bunch, but I feel bad for everybody that's not in the SEC. And there's other great leagues. Please don't take that wrong, but it's just like, we're battered and bruised right now, and we're barely, we're only 4 games in the league. And we're getting stretched like crazy right now, and we're only 4 games in the league. And we're learning so much about ourselves and about how to attack this game in different ways. And we're only 4 games in, and that's what you want. It's pretty great.
Yeah, and the schedule is always, there's at least 1 or 2 good games every night.
Well, you've got 9 ranked teams right now. You have a potential of maybe 12 teams getting to the NCAA tournament. I knew we always had the potential for the SEC to be really good. I never thought we would see it, at least come to this point.
Me either.
Because, there was a day when we were doing a show when you might get 2 teams out of the SEC into the tournament. The ACC was always going to be better. The Big Ten was always going to be better. The Big 12, the Pac 12, the Big East. the SEC was kind of at the bottom.
Yeah, just the interest in the sport. We used to rarely talk about SEC basketball on the show. We would talk about it a lot, but not as much as we can talk about it now and hold the people's interest.
Fact of the matter is basketball in this moment is healthier than football.
In the SEC.
In the SEC, just in this moment.
It's hard to do something for the first time. I did not get to this on the new Basketball Show podcast that's out with Taylor. I had this nugget yesterday. This is the first time in Kentucky basketball history, which is a great history, that they've ever hosted 3 top 15 teams in a row. Now, they were on the road at Mississippi State, but they've hosted Florida, Texas A&M, and Alabama 3 straight games at Rupp, SEC games, all against top 15 teams. That's never happened in the history of Kentucky basketball.
I mean, imagine, look, and they've always been passionate, and, tickets have always been at a premium, but I can't even imagine what a season ticket holder is paying now for tickets. I was talking to our friends at ATIX, and we were talking about the floor seats at Coleman for the Auburn-Alabama game coming up. And they said those seats are probably $1,500 a ticket.
A ticket.
Yeah,
for a regular season basketball game that both teams are going to be locked into the tournament.
Yeah, right. I mean, if one of these teams loses by 30, it doesn't matter.
That is insanity. Insanity. They're great seats, though. Go buy them from our friends at ATIX. All right, when we come back, we will get to Trash this hour, brought to you by our friends at Champies. A little more football in the next segment as we get ready for the national championship game as well. ChampiesChicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. For the playoffs this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and for the national championship Monday, what'd be better than tailgating at home with your tailgate home? ChampiesChicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. The fried chicken is brined overnight and cooked to order. It's always piping hot. The chicken fingers are hand cut. The Mississippi Delta recipe tamales are just better than anywhere else. It is, in fact, the Mississippi Delta recipe makes them a little hot. Got a little spice to them. They're fantastic. It's all at Champies Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster, ChampiesChicken.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the BJCC. With customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall. Sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only meet All Elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Trash coming up momentarily. This part of the show brought to you by our friends at Michelson, and we'll talk a little bit about the national championship. Tell us about our friends at Michelson.
Yeah, 205-969-8100. That is the number that I called more than 2 decades ago. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. After the procedure, 2015 vision better than 2020. If you wear the contacts, you know what a hassle it is. Not only are you wasting money each and every year, got to take the contacts out, put them back in the next morning. Don't deal with that anymore. It was like going from watching regular TV to HD. Probably a better example would be HD to 4K. That has been the difference. I still have 2015 vision. Got the procedure done more than 2 decades ago. Make the call that I made. Ask for Amy. Tell her The Next Round sent you. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
All right, Notre Dame, Ohio State, or Ohio State, Notre Dame, however you want to say it, happening Monday night right there on ESPN for the national title in Atlanta, Georgia, just down the road from us. Here's Marcus Freeman on what it would mean winning the national title for the Irish.
What do you think a national championship would mean for the University of Notre Dame and for your players and their legacy?
Oh, it would be something special. Obviously, this place hasn't won a national championship since 1988, and every year the aspirations are to win a national championship. That's why all these players choose to come to Notre Dame. One of the reasons is to be a part of a program that can win a national championship. And so I think it's something that they'll be able to say for the rest of their lives, is that they were a part of a national championship football team. And so there's a lot of work that goes into getting to that outcome, and that's what we got to focus on. But it would be special for this university and for these players that have poured so much work into getting the results that we have.
We've all seen the Manti Te'o interview now from the 2012 national championship game and the video that goes along with that, because down at Hard Rock Stadium, they shared a tunnel. They had to hold the Notre Dame players back so Alabama could come onto the field and then Notre Dame would come. And Te'o, who was at the front of the line, said his teammates physically reacted to seeing the Alabama players walk by them, that they just looked different than the Notre Dame players. We don't expect it to look like that on Monday night, right?
No. Especially with what Marcus has been able to do with his secondary. But, up front, I mean, look, it was a dominant defensive line. The offensive line's got some injuries right now. But, yeah, I mean, it's from where they were, hell, that's been 13 years ago, to where they are right now, night and day, the way he's recruited.
Yeah, they've been trying to catch up since that night down in Miami Gardens when they physically were not on the same field with Alabama. They've been trying to beef up since.
And I remember us being in the lobby in Fort Lauderdale. I forgot what the hotel was, a Marriott Resort or something. And I remember, before the day of the game, I don't think anybody gave Notre Dame any chance. I think a lot of people believe, you heard Fuhrman, like, I'm not laying it. Like, I think they can keep it within the number. We had somebody on, Jacob Hester, yesterday, said, I think they keep it within the number. So a lot of people are giving Notre Dame not only a chance to cover this game, but maybe win this game. So it does have a different feel than it had in 12, the last time they played for a national championship.
Here's Ryan Day, and then tell me where the pressure is on Ryan Day.
That's it. You got to leave no doubt. That's it. And whether it's a game or a season, that's it. We got to finish this thing the right way. And whether you're talking about that foundation and building what you wanted to get done this season and finishing it the right way, or leaving no doubt, I mean, all those things come into play. And it was all about for this moment right here. So we've been working towards this moment, and now we just got to go again, have a great week of practice, and then as we get later in the week, start really diving into taking care of our minds, bodies, and souls to go play in this game. Because it's going to be a battle.
So as they head to Atlanta, if they lose this game, is he right back to where he was right after the Michigan game?
I don't know if he's that far back, but I would say this, and this is one of the few programs or few moments in time in a season where you can play for a national championship. You can win 3 postseason games against top 10 teams in Tennessee, Oregon, and Texas, and if you lose this game, it's a B season. It's not an A season. For most teams, like for Marcus Freeman, it's an A++ season regardless of what happens.
Right.
But if he loses this game, it's 3 losses, it's a loss to Michigan, and you didn't win a national championship again when we invested all this money.
Yeah, and it's not helped out by the fact because everybody is saying Ohio State's they're going to beat this team.
Well, we're saying that. Again, I go back to, hearing a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that think they'll keep it tight. I think we're the 3 wise men that are on the right side in this game. I think Ohio State. You think Ohio State. Brown thinks Ohio State's going to win this game going away. But for whatever reason, man, if they don't, it's hard to say beating 3 teams like that and the way they've won all these games by double digits that it would be a B season. But I think that's correct, right?
It would. That's 100% correct. I wonder where his popularity is if they were to lose this game on Monday night. We'll have Monday to talk about that. You don't know this, Tyler, because you were not with us during the build-up process before we launched this, but 3 Wise Men was one of the names that we chose not to take, but that was in the mix for the show. We settled on next round, but 3 Wise Men was
never in the mix.
Yeah, that was probably
hey, one of these guys' lives is going to change forever, though. When you are immortalized with a national championship how different that is for either one of these guys moving forward. But, for Ohio State, things kind of seem – it's going to be different for Ryan Day, but that program is going to be the same. It's viewed as one of the great, not only traditional programs, but great programs right now. But for Notre Dame, I think it changes everything if they were to win this game.
Yeah, it makes them modern-day relevant.
Yep.
And they're not until this run by Marcus Freeman. Forrester, how quickly can you pull up Ohio State football social media, Twitter? It's either Twitter or Instagram. I saw it on McAfee earlier today. They've got one of those one-sheeters where it's like one game, then forever. Or they've got some motto out there that those kind of things just sort of give me chills. That it's like, it's a catchphrase. Basically it's 60 minutes, and then your legacy is cemented. And it's the same way for Notre Dame as well. But I just seen the Ohio State one earlier today, and it gives me all the chills and all the feels going into a game knowing that those guys that wear the uniforms are going to be locked in for a chance to be remembered forever and ever. Ohio State and Notre Dame coming up on Monday night. Let's do trash. Oh, here it is. There we go. It's Job Not Finished, that one right there. That's pretty cool.
Is that our man Jack Sawyer?
That's Jack Sawyer. He's the face of it, man. And that trophy, that logo makes it look like a sort of a crown around their head there. It's good artwork. Let's do trash, brought to you by Mortgage Right. Thank you, Forrester, for that. Hit it, buddy.
Now, the women love you when you get out there. Why do you think that is?
Because I look good.
That is? You
I
look
smell good. I feel good.
And you sing good.
And make love good.
Oh. Well, there we are. We don't have to ask anybody else. We got that from the source. There you are.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, our friends at Mortgage Right, veteran founded right here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information. Go to the website, mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. When you get sick, do you ever crave chicken noodle soup?
I crave soup. It's not chicken noodles. Not my favorite. I'm weird. I crave Chinese soup.
Oh wow!
That
Like
hot
egg drop?
sour. It makes you feel better.
The hot and sour
immediately.
Or one of the faux place right here on 280. I want that soup.
I mean, I typically when I get the faux, it's like a chicken noodle soup.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is kind of disgusting, but Progresso has come up with a new way for soup lovers to consume chicken noodle soup this cold and flu season. Do you want to guess how they're doing this? Well, there you go. The soup company announced Thursday it's launching Soup Drops, chicken noodle soup flavored hard candy drop that resembles a cough drop.
Shut up. So I put it in my mouth and it tastes like chicken soup?
Drops being tabbed by Progresso as, quote, soup you can suck on, tastes like broth, savory veggies, soft egg noodles, and a hint of parsley, according to the company. Yeah. Now, customers can get these soup drops exclusively, ProgressoSoupDrops.com, starting yesterday at 9 a.m. with additional quantities released every Thursday for the rest of January. Drops are packaged in a can that looks like a regular Progresso soup can, where you see right there, with 20 individually wrapped candies in each can. Each order also comes with a can of actual Progresso traditional chicken noodle soup, all for $2.49 plus shipping, according to Progresso. I don't know how in the hell they make money if they're only charging $2.49 for this entire package.
I don't know. I just checked this week's stock of Progresso soup drops are sold out. So if you want any, you got to wait till next week.
I don't even know if I'd pop one of those in my mouth.
I wouldn't even. I would not even do it. I would vomit. I would vomit.
I'd give it a try.
Soup you can suck on.
Yeah, like we used to, and I don't think they do this anymore, Tyler, but there was a day when like Hubba Bubba and Bubblicious and Bubble Yum came into the fold, and it started like from original flavor, and then they go grape, and then it was like green apple and strawberry. Then they started getting crazy with like cola and chocolate gum. Some of the flavors they started to experiment with were disgusting. I don't think they've got them around anymore.
That's why I don't play that little game that was popular about
that
10 years ago.
Game. Yeah.
What was it called?
It was Bean Boozled, I think.
Yeah. It was about a decade ago when I first saw it, and some of them were, they look like the good one, but they tasted like crap.
Because you could get a butterscotch, and then you could get a hot, steaming pile of shit.
That's
jelly
right.
bean.
Yeah, nope, no thank you.
Yeah, see, this one's either like fish or chicken and tomato or something.
No thank you.
I mean, it looks awful.
Yeah.
Looks like something you'd feed an animal.
It does.
Yeah. No thank you.
Britney Spears back in the news. She has put her clone rumors to rest. In a post to her Instagram account on January 16th, the circus singer debunked a conspiracy theory that she's a clone and instead said that she is, quote, owned by a little girl. Really sad what has happened to her. But, quote, a lot of people say I'm a clone. I wish I was that interesting, but no, I'm owned by a little girl who lives within me. She is called Mini-Me. This is how Spears began the conversation. She actually has a real name, but I don't share her because I'm selfish with people I love. Spears noted that she was, quote, serious about a little girl living inside of her, and she hopes to let the world meet her one day. I'm actually serious. I will let you guys meet her one day. Until then, may we all look up and wonder about the real kingdom of heaven, she concluded.
Very nice to throw a religious moment in.
Now, Spears' comments appear to be a clapback on comments made by Kristen Cavallari during an episode of a Let's Be Honest podcast. Hillstar boldly shared that she thought not only Spears, but Kanye West are both clones, and it said that Spears actually reached out to her afterwards. She went on to say, quote, I got a call from my publicist. He calls me and goes, guess who wants your phone number? And I go, who? Britney effing Spears, she began. Cavallari said that she had texted Spears separately, offered to hang out with the singer when she gets back to Los Angeles. However, Spears never responded. Cavallari went on to say, quote, now I do think you're an effing clone. I don't think it's you. I don't want to hang out. For me now, it's all bullshit, which I thought from the jump. This does not seem genuine to me. You proved my point. You're not trying to hang out. You're trying to shut me the F up because I'm obviously on to something. My big thing was Kanye West, I think, was a clone, but I also said Britney is not Britney, so Britney obviously caught wind of that, so my initial reaction, I was scared, I'm not going to lie, like they're effing on to me, man. You think they're clones?
I don't think they're clones. I think two of the three, if not three of the three people in that story are suffering from mental illness.
It kind of sounds like all three.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, baby.
Cavallari is in the mix now.
Yeah.
She's in play.
Florida man back in the news. 24-year-old man arrested, accused of stealing a vehicle, leaving the scene of a hit and run, failing to stop for law enforcement, and then crashing his vehicle into a fence.
Did that guy used to work in Salesforce?
Oh, yeah. That's exactly who it looks like. Yeah. I hadn't seen or heard of that guy.
Oh, I see him all the time. He and his wife, his beautiful daughter.
Where do you see him?
I saw him last time. What's the Helen's? So they were at the bar at Helen. And Maggie and I were leaving. They were waiting on their table, and just beautiful little family.
Yeah, I haven't seen that dude in forever.
Yeah.
Now, this is not the guy we're talking about, but this guy you're looking at, Dominic Garcia, also facing charges of battery on a person 65 or older, operating a motor vehicle without a valid license. The police chief told Fox 13, quote, "It was a series of events that happened overnight. Holmes Beach police first got involved around 6 a.m. on Wednesday after a black Ford Expedition fled the scene of a hit-and-run crash. Shortly thereafter, the sheriff's office, they spotted the vehicle on the island. They said that he made a right turn on Gulf Drive, activated my lights, then he took off. They said he followed the vehicle to Gulf Drive as it approached the curve near a group of condos, speeding over the median towards the fence in front of a condo's tennis courts. They said, quote, yep, the fence caught him. And he was pinned up against it. Now, according to the initial reports, the driver was going about 80 miles an hour in a 15-mile-an-hour zone. Just the way he was caught in the net, it was crazy, according to the cops. Haven't seen anything like that before.
It looks perfectly wrapped.
I mean, it does look pretty good. And it's one thing if it was a net. That is chain link. Yeah, that's hard to put it that fitting against a car, right?
Yeah, it's going to do some paint damage. I worry about door dings.
I think that's going to be a complete total. I don't think you're fixing that one.
Yeah. Smush it for metal.
So, Tyler, after I read this story, I'm going to ask you if you would take this job, okay? If offered. Planners has listed a job posting that includes driving the company's Nutmobile, 26-foot-long peanut on wheels that travels coast to coast for promotional appearances. Now, the company is hiring a peanutter, one-year brand ambassador position that pays $45,000 plus benefits and travel expenses. Now, in a nutshell, responsibilities include planning and executing over 200 events annually, pitching local media, managing social media accounts, and other duties. But the most important part of the job is making sure consumers have a great experience. Now, the Nutmobile, first built in 1935 by a Planters brand salesman, currently has multiple stops planned throughout Florida in January. Vehicle features include 6 seats, customized embroidery, smart technology with a GPS navigational system, rear camera, and a bar for serving salty snacks.
So, they've got to plan 200 events and be a PR host and drive this thing around,
and social media director,
and it only pays $45,000.
I mean, it seems like a lot of work, but it seems like it would be different and it would be interesting day to day if you were young and spry, maybe.
No, this seems like the Oscar Mayer thing, where like they want you to do a bunch of stuff for very little money compared to what it should be.
So is that a hard no for you?
Yeah, that's a hard no.
Now, would you rather do the Oscar Mayer or the Planters Nutmobile?
Ooh, if there's no planning events and managing social media accounts, I'll go with the Wienermobile.
Yeah, like if I mean, for $45,000 for a year, I would drive that around and park it and let somebody else come and host the event and do all that stuff. But I mean, for our truck driver friend Brett, I mean, he's gonna make more than that, and he's for driving for a year. I mean, driving that thing around's worth more than $45,000.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I'd do
They're
it.
Literally trying to pay him peanuts.
I'd do it for a month.
Well, a month is different. $45,000 for a month. That's a different.
It's a much better trade.
Yes.
I wonder how easy that thing is to drive.
Doesn't look easy. Doesn't look
Think about when they
aerodynamical.
first did their first version of it back in 1935. No power steering.
It looks like those headlights would blind me if I was coming on a 2-lane road the other direction. I'd be flicking my lights at the Planter's Nutmobile, thinking your high beams are on, sir.
I bet it's got like awful blind spots.
Oh,
it's got to.
Yeah.
I'd be like, just get your nut lights out of my eyes.
Like,
man.
imagine trying to merge onto like 459 in the Nutmobile.
Top speed of that, you think?
75.
I'm gonna say 60.
Yeah, if you nutted down on it, you might be able to get 75.
Yeah. That's trash brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Hey, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and low rates make the process easy. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home, your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
We talked about Deion Sanders, his name continuing to be mixed in with the Cowboys, but the Cowboys are interviewing at least a trio of other people coming up this weekend. At some point, they've requested to interview Kellen Moore.
I love this. Break his concentration. Get him off his A game.
Eagles,
if he even has an A game.
Eagles offensive coordinator before Sunday's game. He'll interview next week if he still is interested in the Cowboys. Robert Saleh, the former 49ers defensive coordinator, Jets head coach, he will interview on Saturday. And Leslie Frazier is in the mix now as well to be interviewed. Deion Sanders has already been interviewed. I feel like we're getting closer to the real list here away from Deion.
I would agree.
Don't you agree?
Yep.
Yeah. Good news for the Minnesota Vikings. I would assume you would agree with this. Kevin O'Connell says he's not interested in leaving. He would love to sign an extension with the Vikings. You think highly of this guy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care whether he stays or goes, but yeah, I mean, look, for the Vikings, I think it's the best thing you can do. I'm very fascinated to see if they believe J.J. McCarthy is ready to be their starting quarterback next year. Because if you're not, do you not tell Sam Darnold? I mean, it would be better for Sam Darnold's career, maybe give him a little bump, maybe pay him $15 million to come back.
Better for you on the cap if it's a 1-year, $15 million deal.
And then you tell, look, Sam, you know, you were about to make 30, 40, 50 million in the offseason. You go test it. But you can come back to this quarterback-friendly system with all these weapons.
That you already know.
Yeah, and the familiarity, and you have it a season like you did last year. You prove it in back-to-back, then you get that big payday because Sam Darnold's still really, really young.
Familiarity is in play here. Aaron Rodgers says he has had a good conversation with the New York Jets. I don't know if that's about returning or not, or just a good way to part ways, but he's at least exploring staying with the New York Jets and has had, according to him, a good conversation.
Well, you know, he says that it really all depends on what they're going to do with the new general manager head coach combination. But if you're the New York Jets, you can't factor this on Aaron Rodgers because best case, you would get one more year out of Aaron Rodgers. So this can't be a factor in your decision-making if you're Woody Johnson and the New York Jets on who you're going to hire, whether or not Aaron Rodgers likes him or not.
More likely 4-0 for the NFL playoffs this weekend for the home teams, or one home team loses?
I think it is going to be 4-0 for the home teams.
So Kansas City, Detroit, Philadelphia, Buffalo.
Yep.
I do too.
Yep. I think Buffalo is going to – I think Baltimore's a better team. But I think it is going to come down to the conditions. You heard Fuhrman talk about this is going to be the coldest game that Lamar has ever played in. And if not now, and I guess you could say this for both quarterbacks, but Buffalo does have home field here. I mean, Josh Allen is playing. I mean, Lamar's had these type of seasons before, and Josh has been really, really good. But Josh is playing out of his mind. And, you know, who the MVP is, I mean, you can make the debate between one of these two guys. And I guess you could throw Saquon in the mix, another guy that's playing this weekend. But if Buffalo doesn't win this game at home this weekend, I just don't know when they have another chance. We had thought the window had closed with a lot of the departures from Buffalo.
I did too.
Yeah.
When Stephon Diggs and them started leaving, I thought it was over with. So is Baltimore the best road chance to win? The two Saturday
road
games.
chances, I would go, and I would take it back from the far window. I would say Baltimore Sunday night, Rams, Commanders, Texans.
Okay, I think I would too.
Yeah, I mean, the Baltimore-Buffalo really is a coin flip. I mean, I cannot wait, and that's what sucks because I think the Rams are going to lose, and I'm going to be in a terrible mood, and I'm not going to want to watch that game. But it's going to be a terrific game.
All right, basketball happening tomorrow.
Oh, you want one of my teasers real quick?
Yes.
Would you take the Chiefs plus 1.5, the Lions at a pick, and then Buffalo plus 11 at home?
Okay, so give that to me again. Here we go.
So Chiefs plus 1.5 at home. Detroit at a pick at home against a rookie quarterback in the Commanders.
Okay.
And then you get Buffalo plus 11 at home.
Yeah, I mean, so
does that seem easy?
Yeah, so that tells me either the Lions or the Chiefs are going to lose the game outright.
I don't think so. A lot of local bookmakers don't like the 3-team 10-point tees in the NFL. Some of them don't even take them.
Yeah, I could see that. That doesn't seem fair. Seems like it should be 6 points instead of that.
I mean, I don't think the Rams match up well. I think the Rams plus 16 probably pretty good play, right?
I mean, plus 16 in the NFL with anybody.
That's
seems like a good play.
lot of points.
And if I'm getting 11 with Buffalo, that's why I'm telling you, the pick one, when you get to a teaser, you get to the pick, that's when you start looking
Well, you play both sides.
Yeah.
I feel good about Baltimore plus 9.
Yeah, that's when you start looking at I see where the upset could happen now. It could be Washington beating Detroit. Detroit having some problems.
Oh, when I used to play in the suicide pools, and it didn't matter, I lost week 1 this year because I had who did Cincinnati lose to week 1? Was somebody terrible? New England.
It was New England,
Yeah.
Patriots, because we all thought the Patriots were going to, they did suck.
But that's one of I try to give people advice on the suicide pools. Like, if you're teasing down the 10 points and it looks like there's no chance this team can lose, that's the team that typically loses.
It's there in writing.
Yeah.
All right. We talked earlier with Fuhrman about the games coming up tomorrow. Luginbill was on the show as well to talk about the national championship. Remember your slate tomorrow of games you need to watch. Alabama at Kentucky, 11 a.m. on ESPN. Auburn and Georgia, 12 o'clock on the SEC Network. Taylor and I will be live on our video platform right at the conclusion of the Auburn-Georgia game with instant reaction to those 2 morning early games. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LT told you earlier, it's the most expensive get-in ticket in college basketball tomorrow, about $140-something a ticket just to get in to the hump to watch Ole Miss and Mississippi State. And sneaky good Big Ten game, Purdue, Oregon, 2 o'clock on NBC leading into your football, which starts at 3:30, ESPN tomorrow with Houston and Kansas City. Enjoy your weekend. Don't forget, new Bama and Bourbon is out. Bama and Bourbon getting you into the weekend as well. All the latest in Bama football news and Bama basketball with Aaron Suttles and LT. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.